I assume you are socially responsible and have watched enough television to be in a state of agitation, confusion and anxiety about the totally real and not manufactured climate crisis. Or are you one of those bigot science phobes who denies science and hates poor people and children?
We are creating this movement every day, because every day of inaction drives more action from us!
I am afraid. How come wise governments, corporations and media not listening to these suffering children's grassroots global movement?
Climate activists need to support other social movements too, because any fight for justice is your fight too. So when kids rally for gun safety or for LGBTQ plus rights, or when teachers ask for livable wages, get your butt out there and support them!
I'm mad at my parents because look at where we're at right now. Like, we're all gonna suffer if we don't start doing something now.
Wow. This is, serious. That girl shook. These poor suffering children are suffering so much and just want the bad grown-ups to be good and take #climate action now.
Hey, Amelia here, and we're bringing you a very special episode of Newsbreak all about the global climate strike. Millions of students all over the world have hit the streets.
This real global crisis requires an immediate global solution. I do not hate children. This is clearly grassroots, not astroturfed activism.
Thanks, Amelia. I'm at a rally in Adelaide and lots of students have come out to take part. And I'm speaking with one of them now. Why is this such a big issue for so many kids?
I think this is such a big issue for so many kids because our future is being decided entirely on the decisions that are being made today.
What do we want? Climate action! What do we want?
This horrific global crisis requires an immediate global solution that we obviously don't have time to question or discuss. I do not hate children. I am not a bigot.
This is an incredibly important cause, and this is an opportunity for them to stand up for their futures, and that's definitely worth missing school for.
Everybody wants us to go to school, and I want to go to school because I want to get educated. But climate change is so important that through school that I've learned that we need to actually do something. And with our power, we should all stand up and fight for what's right.
Greta says the best thing people can do is start small, because everyone has the power to make a difference.
No one is too small to have an impact and change the world, so just do everything you can.
In keeping with all things environment, let's check out some happy stories of people doing their bit to help save our planet.
I, for one, am ready to accept the solutions to this completely legitimate and not a scam worldwide existential threat. Let's check out His Royal Highness Prince Khalid bin Al-Walid's YouTube channel to see if plant-based news is covering this breaking news of the #climate crisis. Surely Klaus and the vegan movement will be taking appropriate action to face this imminent and immediate planetary threat that will surely destroy everything very soon if we don't take appropriate #climate action right now.
Than the rest of the Earth. Temperatures over parts of the Arctic will increase as much as 54 degrees Fahrenheit this month.
Our house is on fire. Our house is falling apart.
We are right now about 11 years away from that climate breakdown will become irreversible.
Wow. This is serious, and this video is already a week old. Let's see if the most recent videos have some solutions we can implement to combat this completely serious and imminent real global catastrophe.
And we will never stop fighting. We will never stop fighting for this planet and for ourselves, our futures, and for the futures of our children and grandchildren. Thank you.
3 years ago, I guess, I'm not quite sure, but 3 years ago, roundabout, you radically changed the life of your family. You managed to have your family stop eating meat, for example. How did you do that, and what did it take to convince them?
I am shaking with goosebumps right now. This brave grassroots 16-year-old human shield is on every television station in the world fighting for the solutions. I'm so glad there is a way to avert the imminent catastrophe that all the real science has proven will destroy everything if we don't take action now. If the adults don't sterilize themselves, put us on birth control, pay carbon taxes to the World Bank and IMF, move into a social engineered smart city and eat a plant-based diet of mass-produced kibble made from processed monocropped patented GMO plant foods, this poor 16-year-old human shield will not have a future.
And so on. They always had excuses, but then I made them feel so guilty.
You made them feel guilty?
Yeah, I told
Bad news for your parents.
Yeah.
What's that? You aren't convinced? What the fuck is wrong with you? Why are you stealing poor Greta's future? Why do you hate children and the planet? Why do you support murdering Bambi and Simba?
And then they decided to do those changes because I have made them feel very guilty.
Now all of them are vegan.
I'm so excited to be vegan like my heroes, Greta and Klaus. Let's check in on Bill Gates, selfless philanthropist, friend of former champion of science and fellow philanthropist Jeffrey Epstein. He must be working to help us face this real, credible death threat from the climate.
Some people don't recognize how important Nigeria is. In sub-Saharan Africa, almost a quarter of the people live in one country. I'm here with my friend, Aliko Dangote.
A lot of people, they are not really aware of the malnutrition issues that we have in Nigeria.
Malnutrition is such a gigantic problem. Part of it is just getting enough food, but another part is getting various vitamins, micronutrients.
Rejoice. Bill Gates, major shareholder in Monsanto and Beyond Meat, and his friend, the richest man in Africa, are putting extra special vitamins and minerals in the industrial plant-based GMO kibble they want to feed all of Africa and the world with. Saving the planet and not eating meat or animal foods never felt so good. If we could get more GMO corn and soy into Africa, we can stop the hashtag climate crisis.
And now whatever that we produce in Dangote Group, whatever you eat, you have micronutrients there.
Here we've got flour that's got the vitamin A in it. Here we've got salt with iodine in it.
We gathered 13 of the CEOs that produce 80% of the foods that we sell in Nigeria, and they committed to adding nutrients into whatever they are producing,
which will have a big impact on health.
What we just want is for the government regulatory agencies to make sure that, yes, it is enforced everywhere. It is enforced everywhere.
I trust in this and want the government to put nutrients in all my kibble. Equality is delicious and nutritious.
Have a huge impact on all of Africa.
I'm so relieved. Let's go back to plant-based news and find some more revolutionary vegan solutions to the truly imminent climate Armageddon. Looks like plant-based news has taken a day off from fighting the real and not made up hashtag climate crisis to make a sponsored recipe video ad for a fake vegan cheese made by a company that mass produces real cheese in the UK. Great timing. It's been nearly an hour since this newly converted starving vegan has had an unnecessary vegan snack. Nothing stokes the revolutionary fire in my vegan soul like a healthy, sustainable fake vegan cheese meal in my smart city coffin apartment. I feel so good about myself. I feel so happy and not malnourished. I am ecstatic and smiling inside. I do not want to cry.
And it's just completely dairy free, so if you are lactose intolerant, then that's, this is a great alternative for you too. So when it came, we were pretty surprised in a great way at how good and realistic it is.
It's so good, it's lovely raw and it melts amazingly, doesn't it too? Mm-hmm. So we're going to make some really good recipes. This one I'm really excited about because it's
this recipe and lifestyle is so acceptable and is healthier for myself and the planet than real food. This is a sustainable vegan meal of fake cheese fried in Roundup fortified wheat flour and GMO vegetable oil. I do not wish this was real animal foods. I am very empowered against the hashtag climate crisis. I am not deceived. We are all one. I can become a god. I am being the best version of myself. I am being the change that I want to see in the changes that must come in these changing times to come. The animals will thank me if I get a vasectomy. The climate crisis is going to kill everything if we don't all do this. I am happy and choose this. I like making vegan recipes like the people on the screen. I am smiling large inside. My mother is the earth and my father is a closet heterosexual. We evolved from cosmic sludge. I will stop craving real animal foods eventually. I feel healthy. Veganism is desirable and easy. I would gladly pay a carbon tax to the World Bank. Jeffrey Epstein committed suicide. I am saving the planet. The climate is changing, and if I don't eat this instead of real animal foods, that 16-year-old human shield won't get her future back from the abusive grown-ups. I am not deceived. I am not in denial. I am an activist. Peace Reflections.
Hola, bigots. What's up, everybody? I am not deceived. All right. What's cracking? 150 bigots. At least a few of you were notified by the YouTube. Man. Oh, man. How nice it is to be here with you bigots. Will you be my neighbors? Will you be my neighbors? Hey, will you all be my friends and my neighbors, all you bigots? We got a bunch of people in the chat. We had Jay Dyer up in the chat. I don't know if he's still around. We got Bart K up in the chat. Logical Links. We got OK up in the chat. Cowitarian. Knuckles. We got a bunch of bigots in the chat. How's it going, everybody? Eric Partello says, love this channel. Keep it up. Sending $2 super chats. Much appreciated, my friend. You know, I can't drive. There we go. I thought I might have to say your name 2 more times to manifest you, Jay. But Jay Dyer's up in the chat. Good to see you here, brother. Guys, make sure to check out Jay Dyer's channel. Check out Bart K as well. We had Bart K. He did a little debate with Durian Royd the other day. There was some good entertainment. Cowitarian, thanks for the super chat. $5. Cowitarian always supporting the Primal Edge Health message over here. Really appreciate that. Man, there's so much freaking stuff to talk about. We got to get right into it. I don't have time to butter you up. We got to jump right into it. It's getting crazy. Let me see. I've got so many things pulled up here. Where shall we begin? I guess we'll start here. All right. So, I'm always bitching and crying about YouTube and how they've totally destroyed their platform. Just want to give you guys a little look of what's been happening. This is my monetization status for all my videos so far. For some reason, over the last couple months, every single one of them has been demonetized. All right, so that's why I'm always saying we really do greatly appreciate the super chats that you guys send. We greatly appreciate the support that we get from you guys. We greatly appreciate everything you guys do for the channel here with them super chats. We really appreciate everybody who's been donating via PayPal as well. We've got a lot of people who become what's called a patron, where they donate like $5, $10 a month via PayPal. We've also got another option, which I just announced on the last stream, which nobody was notified of the last stream for some reason, but we've got a new option. We've got our new private Discord server, which is growing by the day. We're really stoked on this one. So we've been using Discord for a long time. We've been using Discord for a couple years now for the Keto and Carnivore Collective. That's our group coaching. We do it almost every month. Sometimes we skip a month. Sometimes we skip 2 months. We're starting the next Keto and Carnivore Collective on Monday. So you got a few days left to sign up for the next Keto and Carnivore Collective, our private coaching, where we do 2 live interactive voice chats every single week. One of those is a lesson. Another one of those is a Q&A. So we get a lesson and a Q&A each week, and after each lesson, we do a little Q&A as well. You get full support from your coaches, as well as community support. So we're really stoked on actually expanding on the Keto Collective, and we're making a private monthly membership Discord, which, where's my link? I have all these other links of all this really, really important stuff to talk to you, but I got to get through this stuff too. I got to get through this stuff first. We got to keep afloat here. All right, so we have, where are we at? Where is my link? Where's my link? And look at all those demonetized videos. Ridiculous, right? But if you go down, let's see, there we go. Stan Efferding, Elliot. These ones were monetized. Suddenly, boom, all demonetized. All demonetized the last couple of months. So I don't know what's going on here. I have a little bit of an idea, which we're going to get into in a minute here. But the new Discord is up and it is live. You guys can sign up if you want to do it via Patreon. We have finally opened up a Patreon account. You can donate $5, you can donate $10 a month, or you can do $25 a month and join the private VIP Discord, where we are going to do at least 2 times monthly. Jump in there for a Q&A. Now, it's not a full-on coaching Discord. Like, it's not, coaching intensive, like if you do the Keto and Carnivore Collective or private coaching consultations. Also, when you do private coaching consultations, you get access to the Discord server for 3 months, which is really cool because you get support from us, support from other people, and we're going to do, like, bi-weekly probably, live Q&A calls. So on those Q&A calls, we'll help you with stuff. We'll do a little bit of coaching in there. We're really excited to do it this way. I'm really, really stoked to get this thing launched. So let me just find, where is it? All right. Membership. There it is. We got primaledgehealth.com/membership. This is live right now. So we're stoked on this. You can do it via Patreon, or you can do it via the website. It's better if you do it via the website so Patreon doesn't take a cut. But hey, we know some people like to interface with Patreon, and that's really cool. So $25 a month to join the private Discord, where you can get in on the bi-monthly coaching calls. We'll do impromptu calls every once in a while. It's kind of our little Primal Edge Health think tank there in the Discord server. Or if you just want to support us with $10 a month, $5 a month, you can do that, and we really do appreciate all the support we get. All right, so why is it that all our videos are being demonetized now? Why is it that YouTube is so upset about what we're saying? What are the bigots here doing that is making you guys, you guys not able to get notified, that makes it to where our videos get hidden in the algorithm, demonetized, and essentially just shoved in the back rooms under a dank, dark closet at Google, right? Well, why do we have to reside in the gooch of Google? We're going to talk about that in a minute, but we got some more super chats. So we had Eric Partello, thanks a lot for the $2 super chat, said love the channel, keep it up. Cowitarian sent $5. I already read those ones. Aaron the Big Black Dude, what's up, Aaron the Big Black Dude? $5 says excellent intro, much appreciated. Aaron, you big black bigot. Jay Dyer sends $4.99, says thanks, bro. Jay Dyer, thank you so much. Again, you guys make sure to check out Jay Dyer's YouTube channel. Hit the subscribe button over there on Jay Dyer's YouTube channel. And I highly suggest becoming a member of Jay's site. I can't tell you enough how much I love the content that Jay puts out, especially the theology stuff. Now, of course, if you're not into theology, if you are not into that stuff, he has so much on geopolitics, history, current events. He offers essentially graduate level material on a lot of the stuff that we talk about here, right? Concerning big picture agenda stuff. So check out Jay Dyer's channel. Barkay, what up, Barkay? New Zealand dollar sends 10 New Zealand dollars, which in American dollars, that's $4,000, actually. 10 New Zealand dollars. No, I'm just kidding. I don't know what the conversion rate's like, but Barkay, much appreciated, dude. Guys, make sure to go check out Barkay's channel. He is a fellow bigot who refuses to go vegan and refuses to acknowledge the supremacy of Dr. Greger and the other vegan supremacists. Franz Paul says YouTube doesn't like me sending super chats. Well, YouTube does get a cut, so they kind of do. YouTube would prefer you send super chats and prefer that you don't sign up for the monthly membership, where you can either just support us for $5 or $10 or join the private Discord and get a helping hand from us throughout the month for $25 a month. YouTube would prefer that you don't do that. So maybe you should do that, guys. All right, let's see. I had a couple more. I think I had more super chats to read. Nope, that's it. All right, guys. We got all sorts of stuff to talk about. The first section of today's show is something I didn't think we were going to have to talk about today, but this just popped up onto the radar. Links, thanks for sending me this. I probably would have seen it anyways. Amber O'Hearn posted this up on the Twitters. She says, this is amazing and serious. Preemptive responses to the Eat Lancet propaganda have been analyzed and called deliberate misinformation. Boom. All right, so again, we talked about Eat Lancet last year, no, actually early 2019. I think it was back in like January or February when this stuff started coming out. There it is on the chart right there, January. So back in January, the Eat Lancet Committee, run by Gunhild Stordelin, which let's take a look at Gunhild. Gunhild Stordelin is a billionaire. She is a billionaire. Another one of these billionaire philanthropists. Wait, come on. Gunhild. Don't switch to tab. All right. What is this? Freaking amateur hour. You don't have all the links pulled up. My goodness. Gunhild Stordelin. She's a G. Look at that. Gunhild. We got Gunhild Stordelin here. Billionaire. Billionaire philanthropist, right? Just like Bill Gates. These billionaire philanthropists just want to save us from the climate crisis by giving us nutrient-fortified kibble, forcing us into smart city coffin apartments where everything we do is tracked, traced, where all resources are essentially rationed to us by centralized AI, where everything is quantified and calculated, everything you do, say, think, everything you interact with goes towards your social credit score. All right, now, the Eat Lancet Foundation is a major part of this technocratic push, and their angle is planetary dietary guidelines. Planetary dietary guidelines. The Eat Lancet Foundation was working with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development. So all these great philanthropists like Shell, BP, Bayer, Monsanto, Bunge, Cargill, JBS, all the big grain producers, all the big meat producers, right? The major consolidated food supply companies, the massive Fortune 100 companies, Michelin, Shell, Target. These are the members of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development working towards the Sustainable Development Goals. Sounds great, right? We're going to save the world. We're going to save the world with the Sustainable Development Goals and sustainable business practices. Well, as we've talked about many times here, this is a giant ruse. This is the biggest scam that has been perpetrated on the global population that I could imagine. This is the biggest scam that I know of in the history of the 20th century. This is hardcore scammage. We got a T-Bone Vikingo. What up, T-Bone Vikingo? Says, bigot, does durian boost hair growth? You know what? You're going to have to ask Durian how he got that lovely mane of his, that lovely new mane of his. You're going to have to ask him, but that's a really good question. Thank you for the super chat, T-Bone. All right, so Gunhild Stordelin, as you can see here, with a butterfly covering her right eye. She's so lit and esoteric, and look at her cool hair. I love the androgynous look. Androgyny is totally in. I freaking love it. Like, bigot's gonna hate, boomer's gonna boom, and Gunhild Stordelin gonna save the damn world. So the Eat Lancet, we've been talking a lot of shit on this for the last year, right? If you remember, a lot of us in the so-called carnivore, keto, low-carb community have been talking about the problems with the Eat Lancet proposed global dietary guidelines. We've been talking about the big special interest funding behind it. Some of those companies I just mentioned, you know, obviously Bayer, Monsanto, Cargill, JBS, Bunge, all these big Kellogg's, right? All the big players in the consolidated food supply. And of course, all the big players in the consolidated media are behind this as well. Google, another member of the World Business Council for Sustainable Development, which EAT is also a member of. Google might just be targeting channels like our own that are talking about issues such as this. So here is, I'm going to zoom way far in there. All right, that's fine. Follower network. They made an influence map, right? So if you're using hashtags like carnivore, low carb, high fat, keto, food, nutrition, medicine, Jesus, never, photography, passionate. Look at the words they associated with it. Husband, ooh, disgusting, right? Human, diabetes, yes to meat, right? So a lot of these hashtags that we've been using, and they've got these influence maps. food, health, farmer, dietitian, health, food, climate, nutrition, global. All right, so they're making these influence maps, just like you see with, the ADL does this stuff, the SPLC does this stuff. Oh, look at all these hate speechers. Look, Tristan talked to Jay Dyer, and Jay Dyer one time talked to Oscar the Grouch, and Oscar the Grouch won't stop saying the N-word from his trash can. Therefore, Tristan must be racist because Jay talked to Oscar the Grouch, who said the N-word, who is friends with who's friends with Hitler's granddaughter, and therefore Tristan equals the worst thing since Hitler, right? So they do these influence maps. Oh, shoot. Wrong one, pulled up. They do these influence maps and use these to justify attacking and unpersoning people online. So the Stockholm Resilience Center. If you guys have been paying attention, we talked about the Stockholm Resilience Center in several streams over the last year. We talked about it, I believe, on the last stream. We definitely talked about it on the Game Changers stream, which I think was 2 streams ago, but I think we talked about it last stream too. The Stockholm Resilience Center is a think tank for the global elite. The Stockholm Resilience Center is involved in pushing for, well, let's just check out their what's their mission statement. Let's see what they have to say. Pushing for things like planetary dietary guidelines and, of course, fixing the hashtag climate crisis. So the Stockholm Resilience Center is a joint initiative between Stockholm University and the Bejer Institute of Ecological Economics at the Royal Swedish Academy of Sciences. It is governed by a board with additional strategic advice provided by 2 separate advisory councils, and if you bigots have been paying attention, the Game Changers featured a guy from the Stockholm Resilience Center. Let's just to save some time here, because we have so much to talk about. This isn't even the fun stuff. This is just like the warfare shit that we're always having to deal with, right? Being constantly attacked, being constantly accused of all sorts of craziness, right? So, all right, so 25% of the rivers in the world no longer reach the ocean because we're taking out so much water because of animals. Oh my goodness, the animals are destroying the world. The Stockholm Resilience Center gave them these quotes, and they interviewed a dude from the Stockholm Resilience Center in the Game Changers. Okay, so the Stockholm Resilience Center put out this article, A Digital Backlash on the Planetary Health Diet. How a pro-meat social media campaign attacking research related to healthy diets may have influenced social media audiences. So this is how these think tanks do warfare. Look at this sniveling little weasel who wrote this, named Garcia de Galaz. This biting tongue guy wrote this article. Says that in January 2019, the Lancet's report Food in the Anthropocene. The Eat Lancet Commission on Healthy Diets from Sustainable Food Systems received significant international media coverage. Oh, what a surprise. The international media gave all sorts of coverage to your planetary health diet that is recommending that we eat mass-produced processed kibble and reduce our intake of meat and animal foods, the only essential human foods. You cannot live off bread alone. You cannot live off fruit alone. You cannot live off of salads alone. But the Eat Lancet wants you to think you can, and you should, because the planet is dying, they tell us, right? With all this science, right? They appeal to false consensus. They say all the science says the climate's changing, Mother Earth is angry, and Mother Earth needs human blood. The only thing that will appease Mama Earth is if we abort all our babies, if we eat plant-based kibble, and put the pee-pee in the poo-poo instead. That's how we're going to save the planet, guys. However, an analysis conducted by center researcher Victor Galaz, together with David Garcia and Stefan Daum, of social media campaigns linked to the launch of the Eat Lancet Commission, shows that days before the report's launch, online pro-meat advocacy began to consolidate around the hashtag Yes to Meat. All right, so let me give you a little background on this. The hashtag Yes to Meat. This was not some corporate big meat agenda to stop these great philanthropists like Bill Gates and Jeffrey Epstein and Gunhild Stordelin from saving the planet. This wasn't some, conspiracy by all us bigots to stop you from saving the planet. Gunhild and Uncle Epstein and sweet little Billy Gates and Prince Andrew and Prince Philip and Prince Charles and their friend Jimmy Savile. This wasn't those philanthropists' enemies trying to attack them. These were like normal people. This was dudes like me, dudes like Sean Baker, people like Belinda Fettke, Nina Teicholz. Who else? There were a bunch of people in a Twitter thread where, I'm sure, Twitter can analyze this and put it into its algorithm and figure out how it can stop all those pesky bigots who want to keep eating meat from doing something like this in the future. But there was a message, a private message, like a DM group between a bunch of us people in the low-carb community talking about the upcoming Eat Lancet stuff. We were sharing information about it, and we came up with some ideas, just a few hashtags that people could use to consolidate the information in a counter campaign, which is not funded by anybody, right? Which is defunded through these programs, through YouTube, through Google, who demonetizes everything we do, who hides our stuff in the algorithm, and is trying to squeeze us out economically so that we can't make a living what we were doing what we've been doing for the last 6 years. Right? They don't want us to be able to make a living doing this anymore. They don't want us to be able to help people. They don't want us to be able to reach people on these platforms. That's why they demonetize us. That's why they demonize us. But hey, look, the visibility's still public at least. At least you can still see the dang videos. Who knows how long this will last? All right. So this was a response to the Eat Lancet. We started using the hashtag #YesToMeat. A lot of people in the low-carb community started putting out information, spending our own time to put out this information. Nobody's funding us. We don't have billions of dollars coming from BP, coming from Shell, coming from Cargill, coming from Bayer Monsanto, like EAT does, with the World Business Council for Sustainable Development behind them. We don't have funding, guys. We can barely sustain our operation ourselves. I barely have time to come here and do these things because we're just trying to stay afloat. All right, but they're going to say, oh no, these pro-meat advocates are spreading disinformation. Oh my goodness, we need to stop this. The critics of the planetary health diet reached 26 million people on Twitter, compared with 25 million from academics and others promoting the research. Boom. You see what we did? With no money behind us, with nothing but just real grit, real human heart, real desire to feed our children, to feed our family, and not to submit to this bullshit. That's what we were able to do, right? I have a very small following on Twitter, but a lot of the other people that I mentioned, Gary Fettke, Belinda Fettke, thank you guys for doing what you've done. We're doing what you continue to do. If you guys want to check out a good talk, Belinda Fettke and I did talk about the Eat Lancet. Well back, I don't know, it must have been in February or so. Jessica's looking for it right now. And my business partner Jessica is next to me. She's going to ask her boyfriend if it's okay if she watches. My wife's boyfriend approves of... All right, so the critics of the planetary health diet reached 26 million people as opposed to 25 million from these people who are well-funded, who have billionaires behind them, who have multinational media campaigns behind them. The social media analysis published in The Lancet is based on 8.5 million tweets by 4,278 Twitter users, while conversations in social media, such as Twitter, only give you a glimpse of discussions online. It's indeed worrying to see such a clear and successful digital backlash to insights provided by an ambitious scientific synthesis, such as Eat Lancet. Basically, they're saying these pesky little bigots need to be shut up. All right. Skeptics helped sway undecided users. At least they're not trying to call us Russian bots anymore, right? At least we're not bots now. We're not just bots. I'm coming here in the chat. I'm not seeing it. All right. I'm not seeing them call us bots. In fact, they say they're humans, not bots. The digital counter movement was organized days ahead of the official launch. It allowed for diffusion of critical and at times defamatory. Nothing was defamatory. It was critical. Defamatory. See, they're trying to say that this is, oh my goodness, these are bullies. They're bullying poor Eat Lancet and poor Gunhild Stordelin, the multi-billionaire whose money comes from the pharmaceutical industry. Furthermore, the report and the ambitious communication campaign generated a clear digital backlash. That's right. That's right, it did. It was very effective. But not as effective as your multimedia, multinational campaign using mainstream media. Not as effective as your crushing of independent voices through platforms like YouTube where you demonetize us. Where all my videos for the last few months are demonetized. And of course, when the videos are demonetized, we still can get those super chats. Right? We still do get them super chats, so we appreciate you guys supporting the channel here. Right? But this might have something to do with what we've seen. This hiding of this channel. Right? We used to get like 400 people in these chats, in these live streams. Now barely anybody gets notified. People are even unsubscribed from my channel multiple times. Somebody told me that they had to go and refresh the page 3 times to get their like to show up. It was Bobby's perspective in his most recent live stream. Shout out to Bobby. Hope everything's going well with you, brother. But yeah, we are being opposed majorly on the platforms that we're trying to put this stuff out on. Through demonetization, through highness in the algorithm. And this is alarming, but this is why. This is why, because with no money, with barely enough money to keep ourselves afloat and support our own families, we are able to push out a message that can reach a lot of people. All right, so this is why they hate social media. This is why they want to use this, why these big foundations, these NGOs and these groups, this is why Sacha Baron Cohen is getting up there and saying, we have to crush free speech. Free speech on the internet is terrible. It's terrible. These people out there promoting stuff that goes against our agenda, this is so bad and so naughty. So the Stockholm Resilience Center, talking about in our globalized society, there are virtually no ecosystems that are not shaped by humans, and no humans without the need for ecosystems and the services they provide. So this is what it's about. It's about stuff like ecosystem services. It's about taxes. It's about carbon taxes. It's about a new economic structure based around what they're calling now the Global New Deal for Nature, the New Deal for Nature, the Green New Deal. This is the language that's being used to promote this in response to the made-up, fake as fuck hashtag climate crisis. Carnivore Marathon Bear says, I don't get notifications, but I love to give. Be blessed. Thank you, man. Much appreciated. That sucks you're not getting the notifications, but hey, is what it is. If you guys do want to support, the best way to support and the funnest way to support is going to be to join us in, where'd it go? In our member section. All right, you can either be a partner and, $10 a month, $5 a month. Right? The more people we get doing this, the more this can counter the demonetization, the more we can put out this message and help people actually get healthy and help push against this nonsense bullshit agenda. Let's see. So we've got the VIP tier where you can join the Discord, where we're going to do bi-monthly coaching calls. You can also get discounts on swag, as the kids call it, on the littest swag. Check it out. How lit, as the kids say, is this one. Got the Eat Meat Make Families hoodie. Oh, snap. We might have to do a giveaway with one of these soon, huh? The Eat Meat Make Families hoodie is the hottest thing on the internet right now. Everybody wants it, right? Like, all these people. Joe Rogan was begging me to let him sponsor the show and, sell these because he knows. I had to just tell Joe, like, dude, like, get your own shit, man. Like, quit trying to bite my shit. Like, I don't know. So, anyways, you sign up. $25 monthly. It's going to be real fun. We're building it now, and it's going to be awesome.
What's the URL?
The URL for this website, or if you guys want to sign up, go to primaledgehealth.com/membership. Go to primaledgehealth.com/membership. So thank you for the super chat, dude. Lasse Hooten sending, I don't know what that is. Is that E? Is it E in front? I don't know if that's euros. 5 somethings. Says, here's my 2 cents. Enjoying the content. Informative and entertaining. Hails from Finland. Right on. Thanks, buddy. Franz Paul says, grind on, Tristan. I got to bounce. Great. There you go. Logical Links just threw up a link. Oh, great swag. All right, there you go. Grind on. Got to bounce. Great swag. What did I say? Just great?
You said great.
Yeah, just because it swag was on the next line down. Franz Paul, thanks. Sorry you got to go, but you can catch the replay later on. We haven't even gotten into the fun stuff. Guys. But, all right, Gunhild Storlin, Eat Lancet Foundation, Stockholm Resilience Center, freaked out. All right, we might have to do some further stuff on this. I haven't read the actual report in the Lancet. Link to the publication. Apparently this was published in the Lancet. So, I mean, of course, all this stuff gets pushed by these big foundations out of these NGOs, gets pushed out of universities, right? Harvard University, Oxford University. These are the centers of the spread of this ideology, this worldview that pushes ideas like globalism, that pushes ideas like planetary dietary guidelines, consolidated resources globally to save the planet, right? To save the planet, we got to give everything to Prince Philip. We got to give it all to Prince Philip and Prince Andrew. And of course, we've got a history of these big foundations and these people that push the plant-based diet, like Harvard University, the major alliance with Monsanto, with the Rockefeller Foundation, $23 million for medical research given by Monsanto back in 1975. In 1975, $23 million could get you a hell of a lot more than it could get you now. And of course, you got the David Rockefeller Center for Latin American Studies at Harvard. And what do they focus on? Well, they focus on spreading democracy, right? Democracy. Just like Bolivia is getting a nice dose of democracy right now. All these other small Latin American countries getting a nice dose of democracy, which means, what does it mean? Reproductive health services and Monsanto Bayer products, mandatory vaccines in schools, so mandatory purchasing of more pharmaceutical products. Right? David Rockefeller Center for Latin American Studies, Harvard in general, major hotspot for degeneracy. Of course, Uncle Epstein, billionaire and convicted sex offender, who it was so unbecoming of him. But I feel so terrible that I was seen publicly with Jeffrey Epstein, and I had to go to his home for 4 days and hang out with him, and I was photographed. It just happened to be when I was in Central Park. I was breaking up with Jeffrey. I was telling him, Jeffrey, we can no longer be friends publicly. We can no longer be friends publicly. It is very unbecoming of you to be purchasing 9-year-old girls and grooming them to be raped and sex trafficked. It is very unbecoming of you. This is Prince Andrew, whose father, Prince Philip, obsessed with depopulation, bragging. In a recent video that I made, I put some clips of him just oogling over all these people who got vasectomies. All these people getting vasectomied and mutilated. Billionaire and convicted sex offender Jeffrey Epstein boasts deep, long-standing ties to Harvard. Yeah, you got all these. Now, I'm not saying that he's funding plant-based. I'm just saying, look, these are the people that are involved with these big universities. These are pushers of ideologies. These are pushers of a worldview that is being funded and bankrolled by who? By nice people like Jeffrey Epstein and Alan Dershowitz. Right? These universities are mouthpieces for the global elite. They are used to spread all sorts of degeneracy, including plant-based diets. Why would MIT need Jeffrey Epstein to get money from Bill Gates? Oh my goodness. Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Oh my. Oh my. Ismail Dinak says, how do I recover from a vaccine? I mean, look, how do you recover from any offensive thing to your central nervous system or your immune system? First of all, we need rest. We need proper nutrition, right? Animal fats, animal protein. The most important vitamins, minerals, and nutrients that we can get come in the most easily digestible form in animal foods. All right, so getting your body in a state where it's able to create its own antioxidant defenses, like glutathione. All right, getting your body in a state where it's able to recover the central nervous system function is very important. So that entails proper circadian rhythm, right? So exposure to natural light during the day, getting out into some natural sunshine. I mean, that's why I like to use red light therapy as well, to actually boost my immune system. But proper nutrition is crucial as well, man. A lot of people get gut issues after some of these injuries from environmental toxins or other toxins that you can get from such things that might start with a V. You can't talk about anywhere. It's like this video is demonetized anyways, right? But, focus on good, nutrient-dense animal foods, rebuild the gut, right? So foods like raw colostrum, one of the most powerful foods right there. Start slow with the raw colostrum. Colostrum is the first milk that the cow gives. Right, so within the first 6 hours, and they produce a lot. So a lot of people are like, oh my goodness, you're stealing the milk from the cow. No, these, like our cow is bred to produce 10 liters of milk like 2 times a day, right? Way more than the calf can drink, right? You breed the cows, you select them so that you get good milk production, right? So these cows are producing a lot of milk. That first milk, really good, really good. You can't get super chats if you're demonetized. Yes, you can. You can get super chats if you're demonetized. If the channel's demonetized, you don't get super chats. But if a video is demonetized, you still get super chats. All right. So yeah, that's one way you could go about it. There's one thing you can do. You want to focus on nutrient density. You want to focus on whole, unrefined animal foods. And if you can handle some carbohydrates, right? Easily digestible carbohydrates. Things like raw milk. Very, very easy to digest. Nutrient-rich food, says Logical Links. Why rich? That's a good one. Are you just sick of hearing nutrient-dense? Because everyone says nutrient-dense now.
You're going to get flagged by Frankie.
All right. Let's, what else we got here? All right, so we're moving on. We're moving on to the task at hand. To the task at hand, we shall move on. What is going on here? We have the enlightened Sadhguru, and we have the enlightened Joaquin Phoenix. We are all animals, says Joaquin Phoenix, and speciesism. Live vegan. Joaquin Phoenix, he produced Earthlings, right? Or was it, did he narrate Earthlings? Right. So Joaquin Phoenix, animal rights activist, grew up in the Child of God cult, grew up in the Hollywood pedocracy, unfortunately for him, right? Super sad. Fantastic actor, right? It was super good in The Master. He was great in that movie. What else was he in? I actually really liked The Village. I thought that was a good film. I think that was one of M. Night Shyamalan's better films. Liked him in that one. Great in The Master. What else was he in? He was in Joker. I haven't seen Joker. Jessica doesn't know any actor. No, I look at her, she's like, why are you asking me? I don't know. Oh, yeah, he did that weird mockumentary. That was very strange. I'm not there. I'm not here.
What about I, Her? Right? I, Her?
He was in Her. Yeah, he was in a lot of movies. He was in Signs. Signs was pretty good. He's in a lot of stuff. Good actor. Gladiator, right? That's kind of where he was his claim to fame. Gladiator. Look how esoteric he is. That's so rad. It's just like, it's almost like there's meaning to these symbols and hand signals, and it's almost like there's meaning behind this stuff, you know? Wow. It's almost like there's meaning behind the one eye symbolism. So weird.
So when it has such deep emotions, if you kill it, it's like killing a human being, it's murder or it's cannibalism. So because of that, this is not a faith thing, this is not a religious thing. We thought this is a fundamental sense. Why, when we are hungry, why can't I cut you up and eat you? What's wrong? Now, when it comes to food, what it means is, we are taking another life, whatever that is, it may be plant life, animal life, whatever. You're taking another life, ingesting it, and you have to make it your life. That's the whole thing. What is your life? What is that life? If you look at it, all life on this planet is coming from the earth. This body is also the same soil, this is also same soil. If there is an earthworm, that is also same soil. But see how it has become, how this has become, how that has become. If you eat a mango, this mango becomes a woman in you. If I eat a mango, the same mango becomes a man in me. If a cow eats a mango, the same mango becomes a cow in the cow. Why is this happening? There is a certain information or software in you. Whatever you eat, it transforms it into a woman. If I eat, it transforms it to a man. If a cow eats, that becomes a cow. So every life is happening the way it is happening because of a certain dimension of information, or in modern terminology, let's call it software. There is a certain software, which is an arrangement of information. Now, the idea is to eat as simple a software as possible. If you eat that kind of life, which is a very simple software, your ability to override that software and make it entirely a part of you is very good. As that software gets complex, more and more complex, your ability to integrate it goes down.
She's falling asleep.
Especially
She's
if it's
trying
a
not to
creature
fall asleep.
which has some sense of thought and emotion. If it has emotion, then you should not eat it. This is the understanding. An animal which has any emotion displays certain emotions, especially if it displays emotion which is near to human emotion, you should not eat it because it will not integrate itself, that animal nature will start manifesting itself.
But if the animal is a psychopath and does not have emotion, then you may eat it. It is okay.
Always one…
Or if you simply paralyze or put under anesthesia the animal, then you may eat it and it will become a mango.
One creature, if something happens to you and you are in some kind of grief or misery, you don't have to be near the cow. Wherever the cow is in your house, it'll start shedding tears for you. You know, I've seen this with my eyes, I couldn't believe. When somebody is dead in the house, what does the cow know? It is somewhere. Simply tears flowing. So when it has such deep emotions, if you kill it, it's like killing a human being, it's murder or it's cannibalism.
It is the same as a human being. You are the same as a cow. You are the same as a cricket. You are the same as a cockroach. If you milk the cockroach too hard and you squeeze them nipples so hard that they break, the cockroach will be very sad. And if you then eat the cockroach milk after you have milked its tiny little nipples with your tweezers, then you will also become a cockroach milk. And that it will be very bad. So you got Sadhguru. Sadhguru says, we are all animals. We're all the same, bro. We all the same. We's all just monkeys. And we're just cosmic pond scum that evolved through the will to power, through the transmutation of species. Right? Of course, Darwinism has its roots in Hinduism. Of course, Darwinism, the Royal Society who pushed Darwinism, and the big families out of the Royal Society, out of the British royal class, who pushed this stuff. We're super into the esoteric, right? This came straight out of the lodges of Freemasonry. We are all one. We are all one. Therefore, we must get rid of ourselves to save evolution and the planet, because we are all one. So, we are all animals, says PETA. We are all just animals. Check out this one. This one's even better. Oops. All right, so PETA says, we all just animals, dude. We all just animals. Check it out. They put this up on a billboard. This is the image of the age right here. We are all animals and speciesism. Live vegan. And of course, right above a McDonald's. McDonald's, who will soon be selling Beyond Meat. Oh my goodness. They keep buttering you up in the media, telling you that soon McDonald's is going to announce their partnership with Beyond Meat. And rejoice, it's going to be so good for the planet and the animals. Everyone's watching the Game Changers. All this big money going into pumping out all this propaganda. Of course, as we just showed you, the Stockholm Resilience Center, which works closely with EAT, which I mentioned in my Game Changers review, is so upset that we are out here speaking out against this stuff, that all us plebs are allowed to have a voice and spread misinformation, as they call it, against them. It's fascinating. So we've got McDonald's, little Superman sign. I like how it says, end speciesism, live vegan. Joaquin Phoenix for PETA. I like how it says that right above all these 5G transmitters, right? You see little 5G cells all over the place. Also destroying our health. Also irradiating us with non-native EMF. This is very, very damaging to all life, right? To insects, to birds. You hear about when they turned on the 5G, they tested the 5G in the Netherlands, and birds were dropping dead. All right? Bees don't want to go near these things. They're talking about the ecological crisis, but they don't want to talk about what's right in front of their faces. They don't want to talk about the actual causes of environmental devastation. Right? Bayer Monsanto says that they're a green company. They're going to help save the planet. Bayer Monsanto doesn't want to talk about how much they're destroying the topsoil with all this Roundup, which destroys our health, which is very, very likely, very, very likely, I'll say this, which is highly associated Right? Where pesticides are sprayed heavily and where Roundup is sprayed heavily, there are much higher rates of autism among children. What a surprise. Yeah. So, you got We Are All Animals, right above the 5G cells there. Joaquin Phoenix. So, all right, so what's PETA all about? What's up with PETA? PETA is a total joke. All right, if there were ever a group, an organization that should be laughed out of existence, it is PETA, one of the most hypocritical groups ever. PETA barbecues fake dog to promote veganism, sparks outrage with activists. All right, so PETA's activism is essentially mock human sacrifices, which Extinction Rebellion has recently adopted as well. Right? So street theater, agitprop street theater, just like the Soviets used to utilize in the Bolshevik Revolution, for this now global Bolshevik style, Maoist style revolution that uses the youth. It uses the youth. So you got Extinction Rebellion taking a page right out of PETA in their playbook, taking a page right out of PETA's playbook with their agitprop blood sacrifice rituals where they spread fake blood everywhere, where they do human die-ins, where they pretend like a bunch of people are dying, basically fake ritual sacrifices where a bunch of young people lay on the ground covered in fake blood. Right, these are the type of rituals that they've been doing consistently. They also, I gotta pull up some more of this stuff, I guess. PETA also regularly, and I've shown a lot of these images. I mean, they're so gross that you don't even want to look at these things, right? It's really bad. But I mean, every PETA ad, you don't even have to look up a specific one. Sexualizing young people. We're all just animals. Pamela Anderson regularly on the PETA thing. They'll do these ones where there we go. Leather is a ripoff. So they take these models and actresses and stuff, and they'll do these weird, like really, really gross horror shoots with them. I mean, it's just very, very dehumanizing. Women in cages. Try to relate to what's on your plate. Oh, we're all just the same. You're the same as a chicken. And, of course, you get degenerates like Paul McCartney. Is that Paul McCartney or Ellen DeGeneres? I can't tell. Can you guys tell? I'm not sure. Is that Paul or Ellen? I don't know. So that Ellen DeGeneres, I think that's Ellen. I mean, it's just constant degeneracy getting pushed out by these people. This is a really famous one. All animals have the same parts. Look, all animals have this. Look, they have legs too. Look, I can draw a picture of legs, therefore it's just like you. All right, so it's like this worldview that tells us we are all animals. PETA tells you we are all animals, and is constantly telling you that humans are bad. People bad, okay? People bad. I don't know why Google Images does that. Sometimes the first time you pull it up, it's small and it's bigger. So I'm always using this really visceral imagery, really violent and sexual imagery. Too much pussy can be a bad thing. Spay or neuter today. Oh, that's a great transition. Mike, the situation. We've got a situation here. Just remember Jersey Shore. All right, so, well, PETA is also, they're not just doing deep fake rituals with fake dogs that they're barbecuing. They're not just doing deep fake rituals with fake dogs. PETA's so down. PETA is so fake and so dishonest that they will actually try to release, you're not even going to believe this, computer-generated footage of a cat being struck by its owner and forced to do tricks. Report claims that PETA attempted to release a fake animal abuse video of a cat. The video was created using computer-generated imagery, PETA said. PETA's goal was to release fake video to spark outrage over animal abuse and release another video revealing the first abuse clip was fake. We were going to release another video later and say it was fake, they said. The effort was an attempt to draw attention to the issue of animal abuse in zoos, roadside attractions, circuses, film, and TV. But news outlet Mashable believes that PETA tried to deceive viewers of video. Okay. PETA trying to fake the footage. PETA faking the funk. PETA's new formula, deception, manipulation, and fake animal abuse. The animal rights group has produced a disturbing video that depicts a cat suffering at the hands of its owners. It's difficult to watch. It's also completely fake. Following the publication of the story, they tried to amend it. Say, when we heard yesterday afternoon that Mashable wasn't interested, we regrouped and decided to launch it ourselves in a single video as a clearly labeled parody. So, PETA gets caught trying to release fake footage of a dude abusing a cat. I'm assuming it's a dude abusing a cat. Then they say, oh no, we were going to tell you afterwards that it was fake. We were going to tell you afterwards. Through this marketing effort, PETA is trying to convince the media to report and share a fake video as if it's real, in hopes of deceiving the public to create manufactured outrage. Oh my goodness, manufactured outrage. Well, this must just be a single thing, right? This was just a one-time thing. No. This is not just a one-time thing. Let's see here. PETA caught using staged video of animal torture. The report in fashion magazine Women's Wear Daily refers to a video filmed a decade ago at a Chinese fur market that gruesomely shows an animal being killed. PETA posted the video in 2009 and has used it to use it in advocacy and lobbying campaigns to ban fur. Yet, following a lengthy investigation, the men filmed say they were offered money to do the horrible act and that the whole thing was staged. So PETA also was caught paying people to abuse animals on film. Incredibly, this wasn't the first time PETA's been caught with a phony video. In 2017, PETA was caught producing a fake video of a cat being abused. We just talked about that. PETA reps tried convincing the website Mashable to deceptively publish the video knowing it was fake. The pet supply company claims the PETA operative refused to give veterinary care to animals in need at PetSmart, who sued an undercover PETA videographer for fraud. So, what else needs to be said about PETA? Completely discredited in so many different ways. PETA, who says we are all just animals. Joaquin Phoenix grew up in the Hollywood pedo cult. Poor dude. Getting abused, treated like an animal in a sex cult, Children of God cult. We are all animals. We're all animals, yet PETA pays for animals to be abused. How strange. What else does PETA do? What else does PETA do? Uses staged videos of animals being gruesomely killed. So this is referring to some of these fur farm videos. It's referring to the same incident. PETA employees face 31 felony charges, cruelty charges for killing and dumping dogs. So PETA is going to save the world. They're going to save the planet from the climate crisis and from all the extra people by getting us to go vegan because it's so good for the animals. What else do they think is good for the animals? Well, killing them all. Last night, 1 month after the launch of PETAKillsAnimals.com, 2 employees for PETA were arrested on 31 felony animal cruelty charges for killing and disposing of dogs and puppies in a dumpster. Today, the Center for Consumer Freedom is calling on Americans to stop making donations to support PETA and its Grim Reaper program. Dumping them in dumpsters. I don't even want to read this. This is disgusting. In 2003, PETA euthanized over 85% of the animals it took in, finding adoptive homes for just 14%. By comparison, you see, Norfolk SPCA found adoptive homes for 73% of its animals. This is a disturbing behavior on part of the self-professed animal lovers. I hope the public takes notice. Yeah, me too. Me too. Hashtag me too. We got shocking photos, PETA's secret slaughter of kittens and puppies. And they just dump them in dumpsters. 2,000 animals pass through PETA's door every year, and very few make it out alive. 96% in 2011 exit the facility out the back door after they've been killed when pet cremation services of Tidewater stops by on their regular visits to pick up their remains. So we're all animals, bro. And how does PETA treat animals? Too much pussy can be a bad thing. Oh, too many animals, though. We're all animals and there's too many of us. Oh, that makes sense now. That makes sense. We should all eat the kibble. Since we're all animals, we should all be fed nutrient-fortified, plant-based kibbles. And so if you guys remember, I did this video a while back. January. Oh, there you go. Back in January. Back in January, hypocrite vegans paid workers to suffocate and torture animals. Not very many people have seen this one. It's got that naughty hashtag, yes to meat, as we just talked about before, which was on the list of the naughty words that the Stockholm Resilience Center needs to stamp out. Hypocrite vegans paid workers to suffocate and torture animals. So for live transport of sheep, which, probably not the best way to be producing food, right? They're sending these sheep from Australia to the Middle East on ships. Workers offered to close all the windows and to cut off ventilation so it would stress out the animals because PETA was paying them for footage. Or not PETA, it was animal activists were paying them for footage. They were paying them for footage, and these dudes offered to stress out the animals, and they got paid to turn off the air. They got paid to close the ventilation off to suffocate the animals. There you go. Jessica just threw this link up in the chat. If you click that link in the chat, you'll be able to check out this old school video. So, PETA, Sadhguru again. We will not watch any more Sadhguru videos today. People are fantastic. People are wonderful. But we are too many. How do we get rid of all the human carbon footprints? Well, we get rid of all the extra human feet. Dude said that. Crazy is this, right? So, we've got animal rights. Animal rights activists, like people at PETA. Animal rights activists like Direct Action Everywhere. Direct Action Everywhere, another one of these groups. Animal activists like Animal Rebellion. Animal activists like the Animal Justice Party, which you can find at animaljusticeparty.com. This is in Australia. They've got on their plate some really nutrient-dense kibble to share with us. And guess what that includes? That includes redefinition of personhood. So the key objectives, number 1, continually raise awareness of animal interests in Parliament. Number 2, what is empty, right? Number 2, to ensure that consideration is given to animals in the drafting of all legislation. All legislation, okay? Kind of sounds nice, so let's make sure that the animals are taken care of. All right, doesn't sound so bad. Number 3, to invest in further research on relations between animals and people. So, that's great, promoting bestiality, right? Like further research on cool, right? Joking. Exploring and highlighting ways in which positive interactions between them can improve society, right? So that positive interactions between us and animals are going to improve society. It's just empty rhetoric. Number 4, which is the only one that really matters, to work towards a definition of personhood to replace the current property status of animals. So they want to give personhood to animals. They want to give personhood to animals. Because we are all the same. We are all animals. We are all one. But we are too many one. And there are too many animals. And PETA will do a very, very good job putting down all the extra animals. And hopefully animals and humans can have the same rights. Because we are all animals. You are all beasts. We will teach you bestial philosophy. We will give you bestial idols like Osho or Sadhguru or Bill Gates and his friend Uncle Epstein. We will give you all these degenerates to look up to, and we will give you a materialistic worldview so that you can worship nature. To work towards a definition of personhood to replace the current property status of animals. Whoa, that's kind of interesting. Why? So animals are people? We're going to make animals people? You're going to give my cow the human rights? You're going to give my chickens human rights? You're going to give that mosquito that I'm going to kill if it flies in front of my face one more time human rights? That's what you want to do? You currently have positions on marriage equality, asylum seekers, vaccination, abortion, and voluntary euthanasia. This spelled voluntary wrong. So animal rights. But what are human rights? Well, reproductive health services, of course. The AJP thinks that the government has the responsibility to provide safe, affordable, and accessible contraception and abortion services, and that no woman seeking those services should be subject to criminal charges. That's what they want. So, human rights for animals, animal rights for humans, and, of course, they also have positions on things like euthanasia. Vaccinations mandatory, right? Let's get mandatory vaccines. The AJP would prefer education and positive incentives to the current coercive regime of no jab, no play. So, mandatory pharmaceutical products and voluntary euthanasia. The Animal Justice Party supports voluntary euthanasia with appropriate safeguards. Appropriate safeguards. To ensure that the choice is free and well-informed. This choice should only be available when a person is diagnosed with a disease, illness, or medical condition that's incurable, advanced, progressive, and will cause death, and is experiencing suffering that cannot be relieved in a manner that the person considers tolerable. So they make it sound really nice, but of course, like everything, it's about gradualism. Because in a few years, it's going to be like, hey, you're depressed? You know, maybe we can reduce the carbon footprint if you shoot. Maybe we'll give you a tax break. We'll give you a tax break if you'll euthanize yourself and get rid of yourself. And it might sound extreme right now. It might sound like I'm full of shit. I guarantee you they're going to be pushing that real soon. They're going to be pushing that really, really soon. Checking out here in the chat, we had some triggered. We had somebody who was really triggered in the chat. He had to take a permanent timeout from the channel. He says, yes, we are all animals. And then gets really upset. He got very upset. John Smith. Bye-bye. Bye-bye. It's been a pleasure. All right, so that's the Animal Justice Party. Freedom and euthanasia for all. Freedom and euthanasia for everybody. Gradually, nervously, courts are granting rights to animals. The Economist. Who owns The Economist? Well, you can go ahead and look that up. You can just find who owns The Economist just on Wikipedia. You don't want to talk about such things because you will get instantly demonetized here. So they're talking about giving animals rights. Gradually and nervously, courts are granting rights to animals. What does this mean? All right, don't we want to protect animals? Don't you want animals not to be suffering? Don't you not want animals to be tortured? Obviously. Right? Nobody here advocates for the torturing of animals. Nobody advocates here for harming animals. But nobody here, well, maybe some people in the chat, but nobody here, meaning me, I don't believe that we're just the same as animals, right? Now, of course, Sadhguru, these Eastern mystics, monists, pagans, believe that we're all animals, right? If you believe in Darwinian evolution, if you believe in the theology of Darwinism, you believe that you're just an animal, bro. You just came out of pond scum. You evolved from toxic pond scum. You evolved from monkeys, and now we have to get rid of ourselves because there's too many of us highly evolved monkeys. So we have to save evolution by getting rid of ourselves. And because we're all one. we're all one. Everything's the same. You're the same as a rock. Everything is God. On redefining personhood, direct action everywhere. This is another one of these animal rights, animal activist groups. Very, very prominent. A lot of money, a lot of funding. A lot of degenerates in this group. They want to start calling calling animals non-humans and giving them non-human rights. Non-human rights. You got Trump signed a bill making animal cruelty a federal felony. Now, I'm not sure how this ties in. This is just an interesting tidbit that came out today. Making animal cruelty a federal felony, right? So I don't know how this is going to play out. Like if some messed up 10-year-old kid out in the backwoods tortures a frog, is he going to get put in jail? I haven't read the law. I don't know how this is going to play out, but it's interesting. And I'm not saying that this is going to be pushed immediately, but this is gradually being pushed through legislation in many countries, the animal personhood and animal rights. Rights for animals. PETA wants animal rights, but most of their animals are killed in their shelters. They call them mercy killings. Mercy killings. But Joaquin Phoenix, he's just an animal too. Look, he's the same as a chicken. His eye is just as cool as that chicken's eye, bro. It's all the same. Why we euthanize? The word euthanasia comes from two Greek words, eu meaning good and thanatos meaning death. Euthanasia is defined as a merciful release from life in order to end suffering. In order to end suffering. So, PETA had to come out on their position on euthanasia. They're very secretive about this stuff for a long time. Now they're being forced, they have to come out and actually talk about this shit. How they euthanize animals. And that's how they get down. PETA says sorry for taking girls' pet chihuahua and putting it down. Animal rights group pays $49,000 to a family to settle a lawsuit after it sees its dog Maya, which belonged to a 9-year-old girl. Which belonged to a 9-year-old girl. They killed this girl's chihuahua. Crazy. Uh-oh. What's going on? I think I'm having some issues with streaming. How's the stream, guys? Give me an update on the stream quality. Jessica.
I don't know what to do.
Stop streaming it. Pause it.
Okay.
Close that tab.
Okay.
All right. I don't know. We might be having some issues with the stream.
Getting hacked.
We'll see. We'll see. People are still responding. It says YouTube's not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. All right. We'll see what happens. So PETA wants to save the world by euthanizing a bunch of animals, right? So as I've been saying, this animal rights thing is a Trojan horse. This is a Trojan horse for this dehumanizing movement. This ties in with transhumanism as well, right? Sophia the robot given citizenship in Saudi Arabia. This is connected. This is connected, absolutely connected. Absolutely connected. All right, so I don't know what's going on. This is getting throttled. I've got a 20 megabyte line. I have a fiber optic line. That's what we're streaming with. If you need to refresh it, just refresh it. You should be good. You might get some issues. I don't know. We might. Who knows? Who knows? Someone says Klaus from Plant-Based News is hacking you. All right. So, anyways, animal rights, not what it seems. This is not about saving the animals. This is not about saving the planet. This is about giving you animal rights. This is about giving us the same rights as animals. This is about dehumanization. This is about ripping out the foundation of your worldview, right? And telling you that you're just a beast. Okay, so if you believe that we're the same as animals, if you believe that you're the same as a chicken, a cricket, and a cow, those are just as important as you. That your child is the same as a mouse or a rat. And then you have essentially no way to battle this. You have no way to fight this from that worldview. Now, of course, I don't believe that. I don't believe we're just animals. I don't believe in this nonsense, pseudoscientific bullshit that gets pushed on us, telling us that we evolved from monkeys, bro. You evolved from a monkey. You must have evolved from a monkey. Look. It's got fingers and arms. I don't believe in this nonsense. We believe that we're made in the image and likeness of God. And it's funny because I watched this clip the other day of this vegan cosmic perspective giving a speech in Israel to a bunch of Israelis. which Israel, Israelis, Jews supposedly believe in God. They're supposed to believe in God, right? They're supposed to believe in the Old Testament, right? In the Torah, where man is made in the image and likeness of God, right? Where man is told not to worship animals, not to worship the golden calf. He was giving this speech to them and telling them we're all the same. We're all just the same as animals. We're all one, bro. If you kill a chicken, you're just like killing your great-great-great-great-grandmother. That's your ancestor right there, dude. So all these people in Israel were just eating it up, right? When supposedly their religion should be able to refute that. Of course, the world is so decadent now. We're so decadent. We're so ridiculously brainwashed in this nonsense, in this completely dehumanizing religion of Darwinism, which is completely unscientific, unproven, unrepeatable, unobserved, pure gobbledygook nonsense that comes out of Hinduism, that comes out of the lodges of Freemasonry, that comes out of the British Royal Society. It is completely unscientific. Of course, we have somebody who's triggered in the chat by me saying this. It says Primal Edge doesn't believe in evolution? It's called scientific theory, bro. So we got a we was pawn scummer, real triggered up in the chat. Evolution is a fact. See how emotional these people get. They think that this is a fact, when in fact, it's a joke. It is a joke. So if you want to come over here and you say, oh, I can't subscribe to someone that doesn't believe in science, then you need to unsubscribe from yourself, because you don't fucking believe in science. Because science has never proven, never observed the transmutation of species, pond scum, turning into rats, turning into your great uncle, a shrew, turning into a monkey, and then turning into you. I suggest you look at science, bro, says somebody in the chat. How dumb are you? Look at science. You can't just appeal to a false consensus and say, oh, science says. This is the same thing with climate crisis, the same thing with plant-based diets. You people don't even understand what you profess to believe in. So the person who's triggered in the chat gets to take a breather. Take a breather. You go enjoy that pond scum. You tell great-grandma pond scum that all's good, that you defended your faith in evolution against the big bad bigot. Yeah. If you guys are having problems with the stream, just refresh it. I know it's crapping out for a lot of people. And if anybody, if we got any more we was pawn scummers in there, you don't have to insult me. You guys can just bite your tongue and hold on to your false intellectual pride and pretend that you're superior because you buy into the British aristocracy's giant psyop called Darwinian evolution. All right, so you just sit over there, you pat yourself on the back, stroke your imaginary ding-a-ling, because you're so enlightened, because you became the greatest species on Earth out of cosmic pond scum sludge. You're so great. You're so great. All right, so I see a bunch of people just restarted, and that's good. That's good. So all y'all sipping that primordial soup out there in the audience, sipping that primordial soup, listening to the smooth tunes of prog rockers, abiogenesis. Guys, all just chill out there. It's okay. Not everybody has to buy into your nonsense of evolution theory. So Cowitarian sends $5. Thanks for the super chat. We was penguins, says Olaf Haraldson. That's right. We was penguins. We was pond scum. We was monkeys. We was shrews. We was rats. We was dinosaurs. Yeah. We was everything. We was dirt. And then dirt became organic life. How? Oh, we don't know. We can't even do it in a laboratory, but we'll call it abiogenesis and pretend like we understand it. All right, so let's move on, guys. Back to the task at hand. So, all right. What were we talking about? We're talking about Oh, the reason why modernity can't refute veganism is because all you dummies are buying into this Darwinian nonsense, right? People are brainwashed into a dehumanizing worldview that tells them all sorts of completely nonsensical bullshit like, we're all just animals, bro. Yet we somehow have agency. We somehow have a sense of right and wrong, morality, logic, reason, right? All these metaphysical driving principles that we build our society on. Well, I believe in logic and reason. These are all metaphysical things. Where the foundation of the society that we live in wants to reject metaphysics, yet builds upon a metaphysical framework based on logic and reason, which require something outside of your own mind, which require truth outside of yourself, which requires transcendentals. We are all animals, bro. We're all the same. RZA made that. I can't even show it because they'll get not demonetized, but it might get completely blocked if I show it. I think the video was blocked before. I don't know if I remember correctly. But RZA made that PETA ad and we are all the same. Bon bon, yo. We are all the same. You, me, my daughter, all my bitches and hoes, the Wu-Tang Clan, Old Dirty Bastard, the Jizza, the RZA, the Ghostface Killer, a fucking cricket, a chicken. We are all the same. We are all the same, yo. Right? This can't refute veganism. Right? So modernity, a materialist religion cannot refute this. You believe you're just animals, then it's just the will to power. And then all these billionaire philanthropists, it's their right to dominate you in that worldview. It's their right to depopulate you. It's their right to become the top monkey on the top of the shit pile of materialism. To become alpha monkey. It's their right in that worldview. We are all the same, says the RZA. The RZA. Oh, bon bon, yo. We all the same. Yo, I was reading the Bhagavad Gita and stuff, yo. Like, I say I'm a Muslim, but I believe in all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, we all God, yo. Arm, leg, arm, head, zigzag, zigzag. We all God, bro. We all God. Jonathan DeVries, breaking me out of channeling the RZA, sends $2, says, thanks for being bold in the Lord, bro. Thanks for the super chat, man. Really appreciate all the super chats, guys. Guys, keep them super chats coming. You know we're going to get demonetized on this one. We get demonetized on all these dang videos. All right, so we do not thrive or even survive on a fully plant-based diet. We cannot live off of plants alone. We can't live off of bread alone. We can't live off of just plant foods. We can live off of just animal foods. In fact, animal foods have everything we need. They have everything we need to survive. Every single vitamin and mineral required. They have all the essential amino acids and fatty acids in the most bioavailable form. Animal foods are essential. These people want to remove them from our diet. These people want to completely remove them from our diet. All right. Let's see. We've been going for like an hour and a half already. This go by so fast. I might have to. Man, there's not enough time to hit on all the subjects because we're coming on to the next subject. Let's forget about the RZA. Look at that. Like 30 people just drop off all of a sudden and then they come back. It's really weird the way this is working with the. I don't understand what's going on here with the viewer count. I don't know. My connection's good. I got loads of bandwidth. We're keeping going. We're keeping streaming. Victor Tika sends 50 SEKs. I don't know, South Korea's or something. Thanks for that, man. Thank you for the 50 SEKs. Appreciate that. I think those are South Korea dollars. You in South Korea, Victor? Where you at? Or are you just one of them crypto dudes who's always got a bunch of different... People send North Korea dollars sometimes, too. Aaron the Big Black Dude says that was a surprisingly good RZA impression. Remember the RZA song where he's like... About he used to be a sperm cell?
Yeah.
It's like, when I was just... He's like... I got a flashback when I was just a sperm cell in a fallopian tube. Those are Sweden's. All right, yeah, Sweden dollars. Swedish. Right on, Victor. Thanks, dude. What is that song? That song is so funny. I gotta look that one up. It's The Birth of a Prince is the track. I know what it's called. Birth of a Prince, RZA. I'm already gonna get demonetized. It doesn't even. I don't want to give my money to RZA or the record company, so I'm not gonna play it. But that song's hilarious. He talks about how he was like, he's so evolved and conscious that he was conscious as a sperm cell in the fallopian tube, fighting his way to become a human. It's really funny. It's classic RZA. But I digress. Where's Joe Kahn? I gotta find that. Joe Kahn. Where did that go? Did I lose a whole window? Let's see. I might have closed that window. History. Oops. All right. Intermission. Brief intermission as I have a whole window pulled up with all these tabs that we're about to hit on the next section, which is even funner than the last. We're going to have some more fun on this next section, guys. That first one was serious, right? All this dehumanizing agenda. This is pretty serious. Where is the freaking... Hold on. It's showing in here. Joe Kahn. Bear with me, guys. Bear with me. I hate having dead time like this. I hate having dead time. If you need to refresh the stream, if you're getting shitty quality, feel free to refresh. I'm trying to remember some of the things I had pulled up in there. That was...
Like, they're...
Where did that go? Ugh. All right, hold on. We're going to have a brief intermission. You guys watch this quick 2-minute video, and I'm going to find my tab. Be right back.
Trying to raise the sense of urgency around climate change.
What ups, Reflections? I am not a bigot. I am ready to save the planet by doing exactly what the big banks tell the TV screens to tell us to do. I feel so empowered on my #vegan journey. Join us as we chant empty slogans for #climate action written by PR firms. We need to save the earth and demand a global totalitarian technocratic government run by big finance and the Fortune 100.
Ah! We're back. Jessica's over here cracking up. And you guys are just like, sound. That was my fault. That wasn't YouTube's fault. We restart the section. Look, like half the viewers just drop off. I don't know what's up with this. I don't know what's up with YouTube, man. We're getting screwed on this shit. We're getting screwed. They don't give people people don't get notifications. We're back at least. There we go. We had 300 people earlier. Now it's just 160. I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's going on with YouTube. It is what it is. Let's just see if there's any super chats up here. You guys, thanks for supporting the channel with the super chats. We always appreciate that. Always appreciate that. All right, we're back. We're back. Talking about Joe Kahn. Joe Kahn's had a tough year. Joe Kahn had a really hard week. Had a pretty hard month. Poor Dr. Joe Kahn has had a super hard year. By hard, I don't mean, you know, the thing that Joe Kahn's always talking about, awkwardly and in a very forthcoming way. By hard, I am not talking about the function of his junction and his trunction. I'm talking about Joe Kahn had a really, really hard time on Joe Rogan. Joe Kahn went and debated Chris Kresser. It was a really, really good debate in many ways, in that it proved how dishonest, how nonsensical, and how cringy some of these vegans, especially the vegan plant-based diet guys, are. All right, so Joe Kahn, he's had a hard year, and he really needs your help, guys. And so we're going to talk about poor little Joe Kahn. He needs his vegan future back. Joe Kahn needs his vegan future back. So if you remember Joe Kahn, here's Joe Kahn preparing for Joe Rogan's podcast. He was so stoked to get on Joe Rogan. He was so stoked. Just him working out before Joe Rogan, wearing a Joe Rogan for President 2020 t-shirt, smashing myths, finding common truths. So he's just smashing myths. Like, if you guys think vegans are weak and effeminate, look at him putting in work with this 4-pound hammer on a tire in a building, probably in New York. Right? He's working on the railroad all day, building that vegan body. Look at this. Are you intimidated? Look at that. Look at that. Look at that jab. Some of you might be like, that jab will probably put half of you on your ass. Half of you in the chat right now. Many of the women are probably shaking, trembling. I know you women in the chat are trembling right now. The men also trembling, but for a different reason, in a different way. So Joe Kahn, he was stoked. He was so excited to go on Joe Rogan. He was posting these like every day, right? I don't know if you guys remember, before Kahn went on the Joe Rogan podcast. I actually had a few interactions with Kahn. He ended up blocking me on Twitter. It's pretty lame. He blocks a lot of people on Twitter. He has some classic interactions with Sean Baker. Sean Baker, by the way, Thursday, 1 p.m. Eastern Central Time, or Eastern Standard Time, rather. 1 p.m. Eastern Time on Thursday. Sean Baker and Dr. Leo Venus coming on for a debate. That's going to be fun. But here we got Joe Kahn preparing for the Joe Rogan experience, wearing another Joe Rogan's shirt. Right? He was very excited. He was cringily excited to go on Joe Rogan. He was freaking giddy. Joe Kahn, he was trying to get all jacked. Check it out.
You think cholesterol doesn't matter, and a high cholesterol is good for your testosterone, vitamin D. Tune in September 27th to Joe Rogan Podcast. Yes!
Okay. A little bit much there. A little bit much. Right? But his form, like, that's some pretty good vegan form there, right? Let's see. Look at that.
Cholesterol doesn't matter, and a high cholesterol is good for your testosterone, vitamin D. Tune in September 27th to Joe Rogan Podcast. Yes!
That's him before Joe Rogan, right? So he got on Rogan. We're just gonna watch the intro because this is classic, right? This is one of the best. All right, so the cringe began long before the actual podcast. The cringe was strong. The cringe was real. And so yeah, that's him preparing for Rogan. Here we go.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Gentlemen, thank you very much for being here. Really appreciate it. Dr. Kahn, before we get started, why don't you tell everybody what your background is? You will be representing the vegan portion of this discussion. Tell people about yourself a little bit.
Thank you. I feel like the head broccoli in the United States today, but I am from Motown, Motor City. Badass, born and raised, University of Michigan School of Medicine, summa cum laude, internal medicine training, cardiology training in Dallas, Texas. Very hard to be vegan in Dallas, but I did it in the 80s because I've been doing this 42-year vegan.
42-year
vegan, thank you.
That's impressive.
Age 18. And then Kansas City, Missouri, another tough town to eat plants in only, the steakhouse, Casey Masterpiece. Did training in stenting. I was blasting open heart attacks from 1990 on. Came back to Michigan, very active cath lab, heart attack, you're dead, I bring you back practice, 24 hours a day with great partners. And about 3 to 4 years ago, I used all these decades of plant-based medicine I've been basically bringing my family up with and teaching patients, but opened a completely preventive cardiology practice. And along the way with my wife and son, we now own 3 plant-based restaurants, 2 in Detroit, 1 in Austin, Texas. Write books, do TV, write blogs. Teach. I'm not going to stop them 150. Because there's a lot of erectile dysfunction to stamp out. That's my passion.
That?
Oh my God. What else? What better purpose in life?
Well, okay, we can get to that later.
Heart disease is somewhere in that mix too.
Okay, and if people want to read more about you, website is...
Okay, so the whole debate essentially went like that, right? I mean, this dude, he was tagging Joe like every day on Instagram and Twitter. Really, really funny posts. I don't know. It was kind of funny, right? Like Joel Kahn, I think he's really funny. Like it's hard to like he's easy to make fun of, kind of, right? He's easy to have a good laugh at because he's just he's like a child, you know. He's like that like 9-year-old child who really, really wants to be an adult. Right, he wants the adults to treat him like an adult, but he's just always doing goofy shit, and the adults are kind of like, all right, like that's cute, whatever. That's kind of like Joe Kahn, right? He's like a 60-year-old, 12-year-old looking for approval. But you know, he comes on, he thinks he's the top broccoli, right? He feels like he's the top broccoli. He's on top of the world. Joe Kahn is selected out of all the vegan doctors. Joel Kahn is selected. He's the top broccoli of the vegan world. Now, you know how much competition there is amongst these vegan doctors, right? We saw how much like Dr. Greger and Dr. McDougall despise each other, right? We see how much these vegan doctors, because these people aren't driven by, they aren't actually driven by ideology. The ideology takes a back seat to the ideology of their pocketology, of their bankology, right? These people, they're promoting themselves. They get a little bit of an ego. They start to think they're something special, right? So, yeah, it would have been funny to see, see Dr. Joel Kahn passing by Dr. Greger in the locker room, right, on his way to the Joe Rogan Experience. Bumps him with his shoulder. Out of my way, right? Top broccoli's in town. So he was really something special in his mind here. But man, he came into this debate. It was a disaster for Joel Kahn, right? Even the vegans said that he lost the debate. It was a total disaster. The guy ended up looking foolish. I don't know who these vegans think that they could send in to actually hold a valid position for veganism, which is not a valid position at all, right? I don't know who they think they could send in. If they think that Dr. Greger would do a better job, I don't know. I'm not sure. But a lot of them were even mad at Joel Kahn. A lot of them were very, very upset with Joel Kahn, which I thought was funny. So yeah, I don't know if Joel Kahn was the best one to come in there. There might be a better vegan doctor who could present a case a little bit better without, appealing to false consensus, appealing to false authorities, right? Appealing to your own authority, which Joel Kahn did several times. He said, "Who's a real doctor here? Who's a real scientist here? I'm a real scientist." And he was getting a little upset, right? It was a little bit cringy. So yeah, I mean, I don't know if he was the best one to come in, or if he was just the one that was delusional enough and pumped up on his own false pride to think that he was going to somehow debunk non-veganism, right? Debunk non-veganism, which, the natural human diet, the human diet that actually allows us to live, which is not a vegan diet, of fortified kibble. Right, we require animal foods. Nobody has ever done a vegan diet. No culture in the history of man, right? After the fall, after the flood, no culture in the history of man has done a vegan diet long term, right? You have the closest thing to a vegan diet, you have some vegetarian cultures. How's it working out for them? India has the highest diabetes rates out of any other nation. Absolute misery in a lot of these places. I don't know if he was really the best guy to come in there, or if he was just the one who was dumb enough to think he would be able to, hypnotize the audience and everybody around him with his, the magical MD in front of his name, or, his appeals to his own authority, or appeals to the World Health Organization or the UN. I don't know what he was thinking, but he did not have a really good time on this one. So we're not watching this debate. We're just kind of going through a history of Joe Kahn. We're kind of going over a review, the story of Joe Kahn thus far. So, Joe Kahn, really hilarious cringe fest leading up to the debate. Debate, total disaster for Joe Kahn. He was a little upset afterwards. So here's Joe Kahn, September 2019, several months after that train wreck of a debate where he got completely destroyed by Chris Kresser, who did a pretty good job in that debate. Chris Kresser did a pretty good job in that first debate.
He looks older than his age. He is funded by meat companies, and his podcast, they're his #1 sponsor.
Dr. Kahn, before we get
Gordon Ramsay. We got an ad. We got added. Let's see. Is this going to be vegan? Is this vegan food?
That. Oh boy.
What is that?
Fucking delicious.
Started, why don't you tell everybody what your background is? You will be representing the vegan portion of this discussion.
Hey everybody, this is Klaus from The Greenhouse. You might have seen the debate between Joe Rogan and vegan cardiologist Dr. Joe Kahn. Well, I sat down with Dr. Kahn recently to speak about this debate. And we spoke about other topics as well, including the upcoming film The Game Changers, as well as the carnivore diet. It's really...
Of course, we talked about The Game Changers, as well as the carnivore diet. So, Klaus from Plant-Based News. That's actually a photograph of Klaus working out on his own sweater, which, if you want a picture of yourself in a sweater like that, it's cool, man. I don't know if I can do it. So yeah, Joe Kahn comes on here, says Joe Rogan looks older than his age. He's funded by meat companies. Let's get that.
He looks older than his age. He is funded by meat companies, and his podcast, they're his #1 sponsor.
Dr. Kahn,
the aptly named Dr. Joe Kahn. As you can see, he was a little bit mad. He was a little bit upset. So Dr. Joe Kahn had a really, really bad day that day. And after that, he did see some backlash from the vegans. A lot of vegans were not too stoked on Dr. Joe Kahn. A lot of vegans were a little upset about Dr. Joe Kahn.
And I would be happy...
I'm going to refresh this one because there's a timestamp. Here we go. So, Kresser goes back on Joe Rogan. Did a pretty damn good job at debunking Game Changers, right? Made a lot of really, really good points. I wish he would have talked a little bit more about some of the big money interests in there. The review that I did about the Game Changers, I kind of took a little bit different angle than a lot of people take. I talked a little bit about the Stockholm Resilience Center, talked about some of these advocates and so-called scientists that they had, advocating for the plant-based diet for environmental purposes. We debunked a lot of those points. Kresser did a good job debunking a lot of that stuff, but he didn't go so deeply into, I wish he would have had a little bit more stuff about where the funding's coming from for all this stuff, how this ties in with Eat Lancet, which we showed on our stream here. That would have been great. I'm not complaining, right? He did a great job. Chris Kresser, big shout out to Chris Kresser. And dude, we got to thank Joe Rogan for actually standing up for us too, right? One of the few people in mainstream media world, right? I mean, it's this internet media, but Joe Rogan's as mainstream as it gets, right? Joe Rogan, I mean, normies worship Joe, right? This dude has been standing up for us. Joe has been standing up for us. Joe has been helping us out by, well, first of all, he had Michaela on, he has Sean Baker on, right? So he's put out this information on Carnivore. He's been kind of critical, right? Which is fair. When I first heard of Carnivore, I thought it was retarded. I thought it was so dumb. Right? I thought it was such a bad idea. But of course, with time, you start talking to all these people over and over again. You're hearing all these amazing stories. And I actually ended up trying it myself, right? And it improved my digestion dramatically, right? A carnivore approach was something that, I probably Now, I don't know. It's not like I'm looking for health advice from gurus online, but if I hadn't heard stories like Michaela's, Sean Baker's, right? Of course, I've heard about them before they were on Joe Rogan, but if I hadn't heard some of these stories, I might have never been interested in even thinking, like, maybe I don't need the damn vegetables. Right? Now, I'm not always on a carnivore diet. I'm not 100% carnivore. You have to be carnivore. It's the only way. It's the best way all the time, but it's one of the most powerful tools, right? Keto, another one of these tools. Joe Rogan did a really nice job promoting keto over the years, right? I mean, we're putting out keto information back in like 2013, 2014, before it got really on the map. Joe Rogan put it on the map. So big ups to Joe. I'm glad he's done this, right? So I'm glad he's putting this out in the normie sphere. I know he doesn't want to take sides on certain things. And he kind of plays middle ground. But we all know you love the carnies, Joe. We all know you're just as annoyed with the damn vegans, right? So when you look at Joe's meals too, he's eating mostly carnivore. He has like a little bit of vegetables on the side. Yeah, I'm not saying that everyone needs to go carnivore, but it's interesting. He eats a pretty carnivorous diet. Seems to enjoy it. He enjoyed keto for a while. So cool that he had Chris Kresser on to debunk Game Changers. Game Changers is getting a lot of traction. A lot of people see this stuff and normies get convinced, right? People who don't have a background in science, people who've never taken a biology course, people who have never actually studied nutrition, who never actually looked into any of this information at all, they get convinced by the stuff like Game Changers, right? They get convinced by the planetary health arguments by groups like Eat Lancet. They get convinced by this stuff, and I'm really glad that Joe has taken at least somewhat of a stance and had Chris Kresser on and spent an entire podcast debunking it, right? He could have had some freaking celebrity. He could have had Joaquin Phoenix come on there. He could have had, some like amazing celebrity like Dr. Greger, right? He could have had Frank Tufano on. Like he could have had, a lip licking demonstration by Frank Tufano. He could have had a carrot eating demonstration by Dr. Greger, but he decided to have Joe Kahn on and to talk about this. I think this is cool. I think not Joe Kahn, Chris Kresser on and talk about Game Changers. Stoked on it. So here's a clip from Game Changers. Unfortunately, Joe Kahn had a pretty tough year. Joe Kahn, a little bit spicy, getting a little spicy, getting a little salty. Mr. Joe Rogan here. A little bit salty. It seems like Joe might have heard this saltiness. He might have tasted the saltiness coming out of that Joe Kahn, out of the Joe Kahn man. And so here's Joe talking to Chris Kresser the other day. So I'd suggest you check out this conversation. It's 2 hours and 50 minutes. It was worth a watch. I watched almost the whole thing. They did a good job debunking the Game Changers.
It's really like that. It becomes, the ideology becomes so strong, it becomes like a religion. And look, I've been accused of it from doing it from a meat perspective. And I understand that you would a meat perspective. And I understand that you would think that.
Okay, sorry. Let me try again. Mute it again.
It's really like that. It becomes, the ideology becomes so strong, it becomes like a religion. And look, I've been accused of it from doing it from a meat perspective. And I understand that you would think that if you had an opposing vegan or vegetarian perspective. I totally understand. But man, we saw with the Joel Kahn discussion, and you see it almost every time someone who's actually informed has a conversation with one of these influencers. Like, they're not being 100% accurate, objective, or even honest in a lot of cases.
Yeah, I mean, there's a great Leon Festinger quote, I don't know if you've heard it. A man with conviction is a hard man to change. Tell him you disagree and he turns away. Show him the facts and figures and he questions your sources. Appeal to logic and he fails to see your point.
All right, so pretty diplomatic, right? Joe Kahn said, Joe Rogan looks older than he is. He's funded by meat companies. He went on and on in that other one. All right, so taking a little shot, right? Joe taking a little bit of a shot at Joe Kahn. Right? Joe obviously sees the dishonesty. Joe sat there for 2.5 hours or 3 hours, however long that debate was, with Joe Kahn flipping mental gymnastics, doing his mental yoga, doing his mental vegan yoga, trying to get in the most contorted mental positions to defend this nonsensical vegan religion that he promotes. He says he's been vegan since he's 18. Which, does that mean Joe Kahn, he's never had a piece of fish since he's 18? Really? 40 years with no fish? Not a single egg? Sometimes it's hard to believe some of these people's narratives. I'm not saying Joel's a liar or anything. It's so hard to believe that 40 years, not a piece of fish, not an egg. Come on, dude. Nobody was vegan 40 years ago. I mean, was he vegetarian 40 years ago? I don't know. But anyways, Joe said Kahn was dishonest. But that's not the end of it, guys. It gets better.
And I would be happy to have James come in with you afterwards.
Yeah.
But we decided
We did it with Joel.
Yes, and we did. Well, James is way more reasonable than Joel, and not slimy. So I'd be happy to do that.
Whoa.
And I would be happy to have James come in with you afterwards.
Yeah.
But we decided
We did it with Joel.
Yes, and we did. Well, James is way more reasonable than Joel, and not slimy.
And not slimy. Not slimy. Okay, James is way more reasonable than Joe and not slimy. Jay Dyer also says props to Joe for getting Tripoli back too, right? So Sam Tripoli had the Tinfoil Hat podcast. That channel got completely deleted off of YouTube. YouTube totally deleted his channel with no warning. Joe actually helped him get it back, right? So Joe, I know you're always watching my show, trying to figure out like what hot guests to have on next, right? Like trying to see what hot celebrities is Primal Edge Health talking to this week. I know you're always tuning in. So hey, when this channel gets taken down, hopefully Joe will stand up for us too. We'll see. But this was a good episode. This was a good episode. Check out the Chris Kresser Debunks the Game Changers documentary. He called him slimy. Joe Kahn. So, I can't blame Joe for saying that Joe Kahn was slimy, because if you've watched Joel's behavior on Twitter over the last year, it's a roller coaster of manicness, right? It's just complete mania, constantly lashing out at people, calling people names, and not in like a fun, funny way, right? In like I'm so pent up and I'm starving and I need a steak, but I won't admit it to myself kind of way, like a vegan online kind of way. Stream quality seems like it's back. Another thing that was cool about this podcast, kind of like basically it's a podcast review that we're doing today. And another thing that was cool about this podcast with Joe and Chris Kresser, Joe talked about raw milk. I think it was this one. He mentioned raw milk, right? How he can't digest pasteurized dairy, but he does great with raw milk. So I think this is a great move. I would love to see Joe bring in an advocate on raw milk. Right, Brent Levi says, Primal Edge Health, didn't you interact with him on Twitter a few times? Yeah, but I don't have the screenshots, and he blocked me, so I don't have the history. I'd have to go back and find the screenshots somewhere. I wish I had it, but I could have pulled that into the history of Joe Kahn up till now, because it was really funny. And a lot of the things that I've seen from Joe Kahn over the last year on Twitter are just really, really funny. So, yeah. Anyways, all right, so... I like the name. I see a guy in the chat, Frank Zappados. Frank Zappados, like Zappa, but Spanish with shoes. I don't know. That almost made me laugh out loud a little bit ago. Frank Zappados. I don't know. Some of you people are real funny. Frank Zappa had some good albums. I can't hate on Frank Zappa. It's funny. All his connections with Edgewood Arsenal, his father running Edgewood Arsenal, right? His father being chemical warfare dude in the army. Really fascinating history for Frank Zappa. But he had a couple albums that were pretty funny. What's the album with like the album? No, I'm not gonna ask you. I just look at you because I know you've heard the album with me. What's the one that Frank Zappa did? Hot Rats is a good one. It's an album, right? Or is that the song? Is that the track? I think it's Hot Rats is an album. What's the album with Bobby Brown? Hey, baby, it's Bobby Brown. You know he's the hottest guy in town. You know that one? What's that album? That's a funny album. Anyways, it's got that like He's So Gay song too. He's so gay. He's so gay. Alright, anyway. Zappa had some funny stuff. So, alright. Sorry. Getting off track here. So yeah, it would be really cool to see Joe have on like a raw milk advocate. You know, this is some of these things, they're never going to be in mainstream media. Right? So shit, sometimes the best platform out there for some of these conversations, some of the only people that are able to push this stuff into a more mainstream audience are some of these big podcasters, right? So, yeah, it's always good when people reach out to dudes like Joe Rogan and try to get him to get people on to talk about raw milk. People talk about some of these issues. I'd love to see more of that. He had Paul Stamets on talking about fungal networks and how important they are, right? And how using mycelium to regenerate soil is very useful. So it's pretty cool. Shout out to Joe. Good work lately. Having some good guests on. And yeah, so Joe Kahn must be kind of bummed on that. Let's just hear that one more time. It was a funny little clip.
And I would be happy to have James come in with you afterwards.
Yeah.
But we decided
We did it with Joel.
Yes, and we did. Well, James is way more reasonable than Joel, and not slimy. So
Joe Kahn. Here's Joe Kahn's Instagram. He's got a funny Instagram. Ever had a really long week and then realized it's Tuesday. So Joe Kahn, he had a pretty hard year. Also had a hard week. Unfortunately, all the stuff that I was going to talk about in the second half of the Slimy Joe Kahn section, this whole section is kind of gonna get kind of cut short because this stuff got deleted from the internet. But first, we'll take a quick look. Ever had a long week and then realize it's Tuesday? Here's this one. Bacon equals disease. At WHO says so. Yeah. Here's a meal Joe Kahn's eating. Look at that.
It's early Thanksgiving at the Kahns, and we're doing it surprise, plant-based, gluten-free, whole food, and delicious.
All right, so we're gonna have some really gross toilets in the Kahn family tomorrow. All right, so yeah, Joe Kahn, there's his Instagram. Yeah, he's at his kids, his family. That's sweet. He's got a daughter. He's got a family. You know, trying to make it, getting that hustle on, Dr. Joe Kahn. All right, so Joe Kahn's funny. I'm just trying to beat up on Joe Kahn, but he did get kind of beat up on this week by the vegan community. It seemed like the video I have pulled up here, this is made private. Somebody sent me this 2 days ago. I was saving it for this stream. I could have talked about it on the stream the other day, but did I even do a stream that day? All the days start to blend into one. So I think this was Sunday or Monday. I don't remember. One of those days, someone sent me this. It was a video from this guy, VegSource, about Dr. Joel Kahn. He was debunking Joel Kahn because Joel recommends and promotes the use of algae-derived omega-3 DHA. Right? DHA being something you're not going to get on a vegan diet. DHA being one of the many nutrients that you'll be deficient on if you go on a vegan diet. Some of the other nutrients that you're going to be lacking are heme iron, right? Iron, bioavailable iron, zinc, manganese. And many people, these things are going to be completely deficient. Right? Zinc, iron, B12, EPA, DHA, fat-soluble vitamins, retinol form of vitamin A. vitamin K2. Very deficient on vegan diets. The fat-soluble vitamins, right? Lots of deficiencies developed on a vegan diet. One of these things you're not going to get on a vegan diet, DHA. Now, algae oil, one of the worst things you can take. Not only is that DHA and algae oil in a completely unnatural form of the human body, right? They take algae and they try to manufacture DHA out of the algae when the fish and seafood and ruminant animals are supposed to be making that for us. They're making this stuff in a laboratory out of algae. There's a lot of heavy metal contamination in these products. In fact, there's other contamination as well. A lot of these are rancid, contain aldehydes and all sorts of rancid shit you don't want to put in your body. If you want to look into a little bit more information on the DHA thing, maybe check out some of Bart K's work. Bart K has actually been involved in research on fish oil supplements. He and his lovely lady Pim, I think they're married. Are they married?
I think so. They have a dog together.
All right, they have a dog together, so I'm going to say his wife, Pim. Forgive me if I'm wrong. Bart K has done research on this stuff, on these polyunsaturated fatty oil, these PUFA oils that nobody should be taking in their isolated forms. Right? He did research on it and found that they were all contaminated, that they were all shitty low quality, and that nobody should be eating this. This is not fit for human consumption, just like a vegan diet in general is not fit for human consumption. This guy, VegSource, he went in on Joe Kahn. He went in hard on Joe Kahn. Right? Not only did he go hard on Joe Kahn for the DHA stuff, saying he was being dishonest, hiding the truth about DHA, he also went hard on some other stuff. He brought up something which may or may not have been true. He made allegations that Kahn was involved in some sort of like a medical fraud thing. Right? So there were allegations that Joe Kahn was involved, and this, this might be completely untrue. The video was taken down, right? So we don't have the video anymore. But when I did watch the video, he said that Joe Kahn was involved. I think it was like an $84 million thing at this hospital that was doing fraud with Medicare and Medicaid and taking people's money from insurance companies and doing all sorts of stuff. This hospital was wrapped up in it. He tried to say Joe Kahn was in it. Kahn said, no, I wasn't involved in it, in the comments below, threatened to sue the guy. I guess, long story short, the video's gone now. VegSource went really hard at him, man. He went really hard. Someone says VegSource is high rank in the vegan world. Yeah, so he's a couple 100,000 subscribers on there. And he goes in on some of these other dudes. He's going really hard against the supplements that he thinks are bad. So, yeah, props to him. I think, the vegan diet, obviously I would disagree with this guy that vegan is a good thing. He calls himself a muckraker. He says vegan muckraker, one who investigates and exposes issues of corruption that often violates widely held values. Jeff Nelson. So, yeah, here's this Dr. Kahn apologizes video. I guess this is all we've got. We don't have his original video. But this guy was saying he thinks that Joe Kahn was being dishonest and maybe even had a history of this and that. And Kahn denied the allegations. So, I don't know. Maybe they weren't true. Maybe the guy stepped too far. But what the guy also said, which is really a funny part of the thing, he said Joe Kahn was slimy. He called him Slimy Joe Kahn. Now, he didn't say the word slimy, but he said that Joe Kahn had actually brought this guy's daughters into the conversation. So the guy was criticizing Joe Kahn for selling supplements and for duping people out of their money, selling toxic supplements, which is what veganism's all about, right? Selling you toxic fortified kibble and supplements, replacing real food. Replacing real food with all this toxic shit. So he's saying, look, Joe Kahn's selling all this nonsense. Being a snake oil salesman, selling you that fish oil, snake oil. And then Joe Kahn said, well, your daughters own a supplement company, which this guy says is untrue. He brought his daughters into it, got really mad, made a long post, insulted his daughters. And then this guy made his video, and he said, you know what? My daughters met Joe Kahn, and they told me that he was creepy. So then he moved on to Joe Kahn is creepy, and he tried to say that his daughters said that when they met Joe Kahn, he made inappropriate statements about hanging out with their 25-year-old friends. So it was just a big mess. Apparently the video was removed. Maybe the legal threats ended up working. Video got removed, and now we're just left with this. So let's check out this quick clip.
Nelson, VegSource, we're out of town at the moment, but yesterday Dr. Joel Kahn made a video and apologized to my daughters for saying something about them that wasn't true.
Netflix. If you advertise the Game Changers,
and bringing them into our DHA discussion. I respect someone who can do that. Admit if they make a mistake. People don't like to admit mistakes. I don't like to admit mistakes. But I respect the strength that it takes to do that publicly. And I want to acknowledge Dr. Kahn. I'm going to put a link to his video in the description in case you want to check it. Dr. Kahn also removed his 2 DHA videos that he made that I was responding to in my video that I put up on Friday, making my video irrelevant. So I have deleted that. And now I want to talk about something that Dr. Kahn mentioned in his video.
All right, everybody got the message? The Nelson daughters are out, and my apologies are given, but the unity is there, and more good things to happen together.
Why?
Again,
wait a
appreciate
minute.
this video.
Why is Joel Kahn hanging out on the side of a freeway or something in front of McDonald's? What is Joel Kahn doing? Is he eating at McDonald's? Why at the McDonald's drive-thru, dude? All right, let's go to the actual video. Let's see. Why is he hanging out in front of McDonald's?
Dr. Joel Kahn, you may wonder why the heck am I shooting a video with McDonald's in the background?
Yes.
Well, good news for plant-based education and unity. I've had some really productive conversations with Jeff Nelson of VegSource, and I want to say that in our interactions earlier in the week, which clearly weren't all pleasant, there was a discussion about sales of products. Looks like I have arches over my head. I'm not sure that's good or bad. Sales of products, and I brought up that his daughters have a clear skin business and have products. They're not supplements, and whatever they are, it's his daughter's business, and it really wasn't relevant to the conversation. For that, I certainly apologize. We'll keep our families out of it. But the good news is productive, mutual conversations from 2 people who have been very committed to the plant-based movement, that be Jeff Nelson and myself. Better to work together than apart, and any rifts and conversations are over. Let's move this plant-based movement ahead in unity, and if there's some small differences, we can work through those because we know the power of whole plants is that incredible. All right?
So Joel Kahn calls for a ceasefire, calls for unity. We want unity. We're all the same. We are all one. We all must push the plant-based agenda and the plant-based kibble and the plant-based supplements. We must do this together. So, all right. It got diffused. All's good in the hood. Joel Kahn forced to apologize. Joel Kahn. That sliminess might have helped him slip out of a potentially really, really bad PR situation there.
Hey, this is Ryan.
So yeah, that was Joel Kahn. I guess he also did this thing with Ryan where he reviewed the Joe Rogan debate after the fact. So, all right, there it is. Dr. Joel Kahn. Rogan called him slimy. He called Rogan ugly. I don't know. Super chat on PayPal. Oh, okay. John Saberi sends a super chat via PayPal. What's he say?
Thanks for all the great work from Vancouver Island.
Says thanks for all the great work from Vancouver Island. Thanks for the super chat via PayPal. How do you do that?
PrimalEdgeHealth@gmail.com.
Oh, but that's not a super chat though. It's just more like you sent it during the. All right, so that's cool. Sending that PayPal donation during the stream. That's really cool, because because YouTube doesn't take that, which is nice. All right, so Joe Kahn. What do you guys think? Do you think Joe Kahn is going to go down with the vegan ship? Do you think he will ever admit that a vegan diet is not ideal? I mean, it's sad to see these people really, really hold on to it for so long. It's sad to see their meals. It makes me sad to see these meals that these people eat, right? You just know they ain't digesting that shit. That cranberry sauce is coming out looking the same the other end, isn't it? All right, let's come over here to the chat. Somebody says F YouTube. All right. What's up, everyone? Frank Zappados. Does lack of certain nutrients cause graying? Certain vitamins cause graying? You know, there could be oxidative stress. There does seem to be a genetic component. I remember my dad. He started graying when he was in his early 30s. Started losing all his hair. And it turned gray. They started taking the Propecia. What was the other one? Maybe it wasn't Propecia. It was one. I think it was Propecia. I remember he started taking that. So there is a genetic component, but there could be a dietary component as well. I mean, we know a lot of people go on a vegan diet. A lot of women start losing their hair. All right, like, you know, women shouldn't be going bald. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we've coached a lot of people that reverse that.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of people, especially a lot of women, coming from vegan vegetarian diets, coming to a more fat-based, animal-based diet. A lot of them going for keto and carnivorous diets. A lot of them unable to digest plants very well and getting complete reversal of their hair loss, of their amenorrhea, and their loss of fertility on a vegan diet. So that's really cool that they do better. Somebody else said earlier, there's a bunch of, like, I see these comments every once in a while, and they go by, and some of them stick in my mind. Somebody earlier, let me scroll up here and see if I can find it. They were asking somebody who's been tuning in for years now, because we haven't done one of these in like 2 or 3 years. I think since right after Ryder was born. Somebody said, when are you going to do one of those classic Q&As with Jessica? I don't see it again. What we're going to do is we do those in the Discord. Right? So we're going to do those probably twice monthly. We'll do Q&A, we'll jump in, hang out in the Discord, live voice chat, do kind of a Q&A coaching call. The album is Shake Your Booty. Shake Your Booty. Shake Your Booty. No, I think it was... Here, let me look it up. No, it's not on here. It's on the other one. It's on I have it on my iTunes. This is on my PC. Let's see. What else, guys? Frank Zappado's Would You Go on Joe Rogan's podcast? I mean, it's like the biggest podcast in the world, man. I mean, I don't really think I should be invited. I don't know. I mean, it'd be cool to talk about some of these like bigger picture issues on there. It'd be a good platform. Would I go to LA? I could probably be convinced. Someone says Joe Kahn's a complete quack. Everybody knows it. I mean, veganism is a quack, right? Joe Kahn just got caught up in the belly of the quack beast. Here in America, it's probably the first time in world history where the poor people eat a less healthy diet than the rich. Yeah, that's the thing. Well, what's crazy is the rich people, the affluent middle-class Westerner is being socially engineered to starve himself and sterilize himself and euthanize himself eventually. For the planet, of course. Most all PUFAs are very bad, says Pam. Yeah, you know, some people are of the opinion that even that DHA in fish is not good for you. I'm not there. I haven't seen any convincing evidence that DHA is inherently bad. I don't think megadosing is a good idea with supplemental DHA at all, right? But you know, a lot of these people into the Ray Peat stuff, they get like Ray Peat's got his own little non-vegan cult out there, which is he has some good points. He has some interesting points. A lot of people that get into this stuff, a lot of people they go from veganism to the next diet where, you know, everything, you know, oh, I'm going to be a carnivore now and all plants are evil, right? It's like, it's really easy to jump back and forth to these extreme positions with a diet with some people, right? Now, I'm not saying that everybody who does carnivore is going to be, you know, crazed about that, you know, but we know some people are, right? Look at, like, Spherage guy, that's Gattis, right? The guy who likes to drink his subscribers' blood and shit, like, total mind-warped degenerate, comes out of a vegan diet, and now says, if you don't do everything Spherage does, you are mentally ill. If you don't like everything I like, you are mentally ill. And if you cook any of your meat, you are mentally ill. You know, so you have a lot of people like that. And, you know, they go all over. They jump all over the place. So some people, they get all freaked out about diet all the time. So these things are tools, right? A ketogenic diet is a tool. A carnivorous approach is a tool. A vegan diet is a tool for degenerating people, starving them, and making them sterile and fertile and destroy themselves. It's a depopulation tool, ultimately. Starvation, right? It's institutionalized starvation is what we're looking at. Let's see. I tried to give you a super chat yesterday, and YouTube didn't allow it to go through. That's weird. Rongopai. Well, hey, man, we appreciate the support. We appreciate the intent. Yeah, if you guys want to support, let's see. Where's that membership page again? If you guys want to support. Oh, did I close that window? Where's that window? If you guys want to support, I suggest you check out the membership section. You can either go via Patreon. We would prefer that instead you go through the website, primaledgehealth.com/members or membership. Membership. primaledgehealth.com/membership. Let me pull it up right here. There it is. So you can either become a supporter, a partner, or join the VIP Discord. We're going to do a couple coaching calls each month. Jessica and I will jump in there. Talk about whatever you want. We can talk about the ladies' issues with Jessica. We can talk about the men's issues with Tristan. When that time of month comes around for you guys out there, when that time of day comes around, when you're just sick of hearing people talk, come into the Primal Edge Health Discord. Join the voice chat. No, I'm kidding. Well, it's gonna be fun. We're gonna. Oh, there we go. Links just threw up a link. Logical Links. He's up in the Discord there. So we're excited to finally launch this. We got the membership section of the site rocking now. Private Discord access. It's gonna be fun. Frank Zapatos says my flow is extra heavy this month. I need your help, Tristan. Yeah, man. It's a tough life for dudes. It's a tough life for guys. What are thoughts on Sean Baker's Meat RX project? I haven't seen the internal stuff, but it's all good. It's all good. Looks good to me, man. I mean, look, you got guys like Dr. Sean Baker out there putting out consistently good information, really, really building a bridge for a lot of normies as well, right? Like a lot of people that Sean Baker talks to. I mean, these are people coming from Normieville, right? And he's actually had a lot of... he's done a lot of good, bridging for a lot of people. He works his ass off. Dude is a surgeon, left his medical practice. I'm not sure if he's even going back to it. He has his medical license. And, so I think he does a lot of good spreading the word. I think it's a damn shame that the medical system is so messed up. The medical system is so messed up that people like Sean Baker don't really have a place in such a place. So, yeah, I think Sean's done a great job. MeatRx was his kind of members website that he's kicking it up. But yeah, Sean Baker, he's putting in work. He's putting in work for all of us. He's done a really good job at spreading the word. Right? I mean, hey, he put in work. He went on Joe Rogan. Right? Did a good job. So anyways, you guys want to hit us up for coaching? Check out primaledgehealth.com. The next Keto and Carnivore Collective is starting really soon. In fact, the next Keto and Carnivore Collective is starting Monday. It's starting Monday. Oh, another mention. You guys want to check out the Quick Start Guide to Carnivory and 21-Day Carnivore Diet Meal Plan. This is Jessica's ebook she put out a few weeks back. It's a really good one, right? Really, really cool. You can check out a sample of the 21-Day Carnivore Diet Meal Plan. Also, check out the Carnivore Cookbook, available in print or as an ebook. primaledgehealth.com. Shout out to Sean Baker also for rocking the Eat Meat Make Families tank top. I've got the Eat Meat Make Families hoodie right here. Boom. Trigger your local antinatalists. Trigger your local globalists with a Eat Meat Make Families t-shirt or hoodie or other swag. Or you can just wear the cookbook, right? Buy the cookbook, duct tape it to your gear, cruise around with it, and just show people how cool you are by rocking the Primal Edge Health Carnivore Cookbook, 0 carb recipes for people who really love animals. Next Keto and Carnivore Collective starting next week. And of course, again, make sure to join the members section. We're super stoked to have launched the memberships. So if you want to support via Patreon, you can. If you like Patreon as a platform, if you enjoy sending super chats, we love that as well. It's really helpful as these are all demonetized, like we showed you earlier when I showed you the back end of the YouTube channel. All these dang videos get demonetized by YouTube these days. But this hoodie, I'm telling you guys, there's one thing you need. It's a Primal Edge Health hoodie. No, I'm just kidding. It's cool. It's organic cotton. Real comfortable. The Eat Meat Make Families hoodie. I dig it. I like this hoodie. It's one of my favorite swag pieces. But yeah, guys, check out the swag. Support the channel. Support the work we do here, because we are being heavily hit by demonetization, heavily hit by media campaigns, and soon to come heavily hit by people like the Stockholm Resilience Institute. I don't know what's going to happen, but we're going to see a big push, a little bit more of a pushback towards all these carny crazies out there. And yeah, so I'm over here, I'm sipping on my raw milk. Let's see, what else we talk about? We just cruise up here. Tristan looks like a meat monk. If you drink the raw milk and you wear the Eat Meat Make Families hoodie, you will feel at one with everything, and you will feel at one with all of nature, and also you can get a free reproductive health services if you wear the Primal Edge Health hoodie to your local Planned Parenthood. Alright, so got the raw milk, a little bit of carnivore carbohydrates here. I played some soccer today. That was fun. I hadn't played since 2 weeks ago. I got new cleats, and the new cleats are on fleek. The new soccer cleats are on fleek. They are super comfortable, and I feel super fast in my football cleats. So I play with these. I play with all these youngsters, and they mess me up. These kids. We didn't even play. We were just kicking the ball around today. We were just messing around, kicking the ball around, and doing some basic some drilling. But still, I get so sweaty. It's amazing how much I sweat when I work out. Some of these high school kids, there's from age 16 to, there's some dudes in their late 20s that come by too, in mid 20s, but I'm kind of one of the older cats there. And these kids, man, they don't even break a sweat, and I'll have my whole shirt is just drenched in sweat. But yeah, it's fun. I like it. When I'm playing the football, I like to use a little bit more carbohydrates. So I actually had some plantains and honey with some butter on it. Is honey carnivore, says Pam. Honey is an animal food. I mess around sometimes. I say it's a carnivore carb, but if you're talking about the strict definition of a strict carnivore diet, or if you're doing carnivore for an autoimmune condition or something like that, you're not going to want to include honey at first. I usually recommend people start out a carnivore approach, going full carnivore, more of a carnivore keto approach, right? Go for a high fat intake, sufficient protein, right? Not skimping on the protein, not being afraid of the protein, but getting enough of that fat in, animal fat. That's usually how I recommend you start out. And then, and then after that, mess around with the carbs, add some carb sources. If you can digest honey well, it's a great one. I really like raw milk. I like raw honey. Those are great. Those are kind of carbivore foods, right? Animal-based carbs. But if you're going for a strict definition of strict carnivore, right? The carnivore diet. It's meat. Some people include some eggs, salt, water, right? The basics. And I don't want to start trying to redefine carnivore for everybody and confuse a bunch of people. So, I don't know, Amber O'Hearn, some people like to say carnivore adjacent, right? I call raw milk as a carnivore carbohydrate. It's an animal-based carbohydrate source. This is a very easily digestible and assimilable carbohydrate source. Hey, same with honey. Honey comes from animals. It's processed by animals. They create honey through taking all this pollen, all this stuff that we can't eat, all this plant material, these waxes and stuff, and they transmute that through their saliva, through the digestive enzymes, into delicious bioavailable honey that's really easily digested. All right, so if you're including honey, is that strict carnivore? No way, right? If you're trying to go strict carnivore, if you're somebody like Michaela Peterson, who had debilitating depression, autoimmune condition, couldn't handle digesting almost anything, going for stricter carnivore is probably going to be a useful approach, right? So yeah, what I do most of the time, I kind of alternate, right? I've been doing keto for 6 years, right? So I use carbohydrates when I want them. So people say, oh, do you miss carbohydrates? Absolutely not. First of all, I know I don't need them. I went years without any, right? But also, if I want them and I need them for performance, right? You don't really need them for performance, but if I feel like I want them, I can get a boost from performance from them, I'll use them, right? So, no. I don't miss carbohydrates. I eat them when I want, right? So tonight I had some plantains and honey. Probably had 200 grams of carbohydrates tonight. It was delicious. So yeah, Carbohydrates are a tool, just like ketosis. Ketosis, the goal is not ketosis, right? Ketosis is a side effect. Ketones in the blood are not the goal. Ketones in the blood are not going to cure all your diseases. Some people feel better without being in ketosis. Some people feel great in ketosis. If you're a high-level athlete, which I am not, right? Which none of these vegans on YouTube call themselves athletes. None of them are high-level athletes. Look, I'm not a high-level athlete, but I do know that when I'm doing a lot of sprinting, when I'm doing a lot of running, when I'm playing soccer, football, I say soccer because all you Americans, gringo loco here, gets confused on his words. Yeah, I use some carbohydrates. So it's all about your own individual context, your own individual needs. And your own individual environment will determine what the foods are best. Cowitarian says, milk. I used to hate on milk so hard. Yeah, raw milk's really good. Raw milk is really, really amazing. What else? Let's hit up the Instagram. Check out some of that. I got some interesting things on Instagram that we could talk about. Up in the story, speaking of gains, speaking of raw milk and health and opening up to different... All right, well, this is part of my breakfast. You see the butter dripping off of that? Ooh, look at that steak. That was a good steak. Oh, this is interesting. Anti-fluoride science shadow banned. Anthony GJ. We'll talk about this on a future episode. That's not what I was looking for. What I was looking for was a screenshot. Did I not post it? I didn't post that screenshot. Dang. Well, I had a screenshot that I thought I posted, but maybe I wasn't online when I posted it. This one's funny. If gas station knives were a person. I just love that. Oh, wait. That wasn't even pulled up. Here's the Instagram. There it is. Sorry, guys. There it is. The Wolf Daddy says, last year, I saw you talk about raw milk and how you were gaining muscle. I started drinking raw milk and started Carnivore last December. 58 years old with a 6'3" frame. Last December, I weighed 164. Today, 176 with about 8% body fat. Only working out twice a week. Thank you. So, there you go. Dude's getting gains. Right? I'm not even coaching this guy. He's just taking advice that I'm giving out on Instagram and stuff. So, I'd love to see this. Yes, raw milk, an animal foods-based diet, is a great way to improve digestion and make them gains. So if you're trying to make gains, trying to gain weight on carnivore, sometimes adding some carbohydrates can be useful. Right, so I'm glad I found that one. There's that one. Let's see. Oh, yeah, they're pushing statins on kids now. Pushing statins for children. Yes. Statins for kids. Get green light. Yeah. So there you go. That's on my Twitter. Make sure to follow me at Tristan Haggard on Twitter if you're not already following me on the Twitters. I like this one. If gas station knives were a person. All right. So, what else is going on? Here's, kind of a typical keto style meal that I'll have. Sometimes I'll have some carbohydrates at the end of the day. If I do have carbs, it's usually just at the end of the day. I could eat more right now because I did a lot of running today, so my hunger is up. I could totally have a third meal, but I'm not. I'm not trying to gain a bunch of weight. Current physique status. There we go. There we go. That's what I'm sitting at right now. That's what I actually look like. I don't like doing like all the fitness posing and all this stuff, but I'll throw out a selfie every once in a while for the bigots. Just to remind you that I ain't a vegan. Just to remind you that you can make some gains on an animal-based diet. I'm probably not going to get much bigger than this. Like I said, when you're training hard, when you are such an insta-ho, Tristan, yeah. See, I didn't show my nippies, though. When you're training a lot, when you're running a lot, when you're doing a lot of sprinting, when you're doing a lot of cardio, you don't. All right, so gaining muscle versus having good cardio, you cannot serve two masters, right? Like, there was a time when I was putting on some muscle. I was thinking, look, I'm gonna get 170 and just stay 170, right? I don't think that's gonna happen now. I don't really want to do it. I got to 165 one day at peak weight. I was 167. I think I touched 170 one day, but I think it was a little bloated that day. But anyways, playing football I don't know. Like, dude, when you look at the best professional football players, right? People are asking how tall I am. I'm 5'9". When you look at the best professional footballers, like these dudes, and I'm not a professional footballer. I'm never going to be. I'm not a high-level athlete or anything. I'm just like a hobbyist. Like, I like to play, and I like to run around. I just love it. But you look at like these guys. Look at Messi, right? He's my favorite, probably one of my favorite athletes in the world, right? Lionel Messi. I think he's like 5'7", so shorter than me. Not super muscular, right? You look at most of the best footballers; they're real lean, and they're also pretty slender, right? So when you have extra muscle, it's not helping you. You have extra muscle, and you're trying to be fast as possible, right? Like, you have big, strong legs. Yeah, you can sprint, but if you got a lot of extra muscle tissue that you have to feed, you're not going to be. It's not going to help you. You don't want to be heavy. Like, so it's like if you're trying to chase performance, like as a footballer, you're going to want to be lighter. You're not going to want to have extra muscle. So it's like, I'm not going to be the best footballer. I'm not going to be a bodybuilder because I'm never going to do steroids or anything like that, right? So it's like, and also I don't care, right? I maintain my physique. I like to lift some weights. I like to do all sorts of, I like kettlebells. I like body weight stuff. I like working out. It makes me feel good. So anyways, trying to build muscle, don't do too much cardio. Long story short, if you're trying to do a bunch of cardio, don't try and build muscle at the same time. Right? This is like Nate Diaz, go put on 10 pounds of muscle, please. Stop doing so much cardio. We talked about this the other day. Nick Diaz, Nate's older brother, had a much better fighting physique at the 170-pound weight class, which Nate is trying to fight at. So I wish some of these dudes could. I wish I could tell Nate Diaz what to eat. He would listen to me. Nate Diaz with 10 pounds more muscle, I think, would be a better athlete in his division. Let's come over here to the chat. I'm really bummed we never got to see your interview with Naudi Aguilar. Dude, yeah, I did that interview with Naudi, and I don't know, maybe he's different. It was years ago, man. It was years ago, but he blew up on me for not agreeing with people in the comment section. He blew up on me for not agreeing with all his transhumanist Jacques Fresco worship nonsense. And yeah, Mike says you can always do SARMs instead. Yeah, or I can just take some vegan supplements that are tainted with SARMs, like poor Nate Diaz got popped for a SARM and his like Garden of Life raw green veggie shit. Let's see. Being heavy isn't necessarily a good thing. It's hard on the organs, I've heard. Yeah, well, it's like, being past your genetic potential, I don't think is a heavy thing. Being past your genetic potential, no. But I'm not super heavy. Like, I'm 5'9", I'm 150, I might be 160 right now. Might be 155, depends on the day. Frank Zabados says, yeah, Nate runs too much. Yes, dude. If Nate would just, his frame needs more muscle on it for what he's trying to do. I wish he would have 10 more pounds of muscle. Stop doing so much. He could put on the muscle and then train the cardio. Right? His cardio is never going to be an issue. His boniness, his lack of strength. Hashtag not vegan. Look at that. I just murdered a mosquito. So for all the vegan activists, for the RZA who thinks we're all the same, for Joaquin Phoenix, in the future, in your vegan dystopian future, you can retroactively jail me for killing a mosquito on camera. All right. Joshua says, as a mover, I'd rather be lean if I'm running boxes upstairs at 90 degrees heat. Being big only helps moving a piano, but 90% being lean is better. Being too lean, I mean, look, when you say lean, you can have muscle and be lean, right? Like, I'm pretty lean, I have muscle, but the muscle that I have makes it to where I'm not going to be the most effective at moving without a lot of training, right? It's like I'm like huge and massive, right? But if you want to move really quickly and be unpredictable in your movement in something like a sport like football, not American football, but like international football, soccer, then yeah, like having extra muscle ain't going to help you. It ain't going to help you at all. All right. So, All right, guys. Maybe start wrapping it up. It's been over 2.5 hours. Somebody's asking, when's your next stream with Jay? Anytime, man. What should next? We can do some Terence McKenna. I think he's read a couple Terence McKenna books. We can talk about some of these psychonauts. We can talk about Terence McKenna. The mushroom told me that if you say the word Jay Dyer 3 times in the chat, then we will all ascend and become masters of the scintillating universe of the crystalline forms being spat out of the ether from in between dimensions by the self-transforming machine elves. And if we all will accept the pee-pee in the poo-poo, we can all be one with the universe, and we can all accept the demonic self-transforming machine elves as our saviors, and we can all get so high off the mushrooms and 5 grams in silent darkness, and then we can all be Joe Rogan, because you are Joe Rogan, and I am Terence McKenna and Joe Rogan, and also we are all Charles Manson. If you ever grow hair, dye it blue. Primal. You want to dye my beard blue? Dye my beard blue. Here, look, I got a little fuzz up on the head right there. I got a little bit of fuzz on the dome. You guys want it blue? There's a reason the mushroom looks like a pee-pee, says Brenton Levi. If you send me super chats, I can read them in the Terence McKenna voice. I will do Terence McKenna impressions for super chats, but I will not twerk like the degenerate vegan games. The mushroom told me that there are so many people on the planet, and Sadhguru says there are 4 times as many people on the planet, and Osho says that we all need to have total birth control, and the mushroom told me that we also should have total birth control to save the planet from all the carbon footprints of all the extra human babies who keep having their extra human feet. If I continue to talk in the Terence McKenna voice, my wife will never have sex with me again, because she does not like when I say in the Terence McKenna voice that we can save the planet if we all put the pee-pee in the poo-poo. I have no more milk, and I have no more jokes, and I see no more super chats. Thank you for the support, guys. Join us in the forum. It's open now. The membership section is open and rocking. We're going to be doing a couple of live Q&A coaching calls up in there. Do it twice a month at least. It's going to be fun. So if you want to support the channel, we've got to find other ways to support other than just views, because every one of these is getting demonetized. You know it. I know it. Sweet dreams, bigots.
Trying to raise the sense of urgency around climate change.
What ups, Reflections? I am not a bigot. I am ready to save the planet by doing exactly what the big banks tell the TV screens to tell us to do. I feel so empowered on my #vegan journey. Join us as we chant empty slogans for #climate action written by PR firms. We need to save the earth and demand a global totalitarian technocratic government run by big finance and the Fortune 100. Our house is on fire and we need the nice grown-up government to take everyone's land and resources and ration us delicious, sustainable, nutrient-fortified vegan kibble. This is an emergency. Mommy Earth is crying so sad because she wants the mean grown-ups to give poor little 16-year-old human shield Greta her future back.
Do you have anything to add to these debates about just, in particular, the idea that it's kind of too expensive to deal with climate change?
I mean, it is, the money is there. If we can save the banks, then we can save the world. I mean,
Jeffrey Epstein committed suicides and was working alone. Veganism is desirable and fun and make me smile big happy on my insides. I do not hate children. I am not a science denier. I do like science. To fix the hashtag climate crisis we need to sterilize ourselves, starve ourselves, eat babies and grandma and move to a social engineered hashtag smart city to save the earth. There is no time to examine the inconsistencies in our claims or actions or the billions of dollars being leveraged to brainwash us into thinking we want this. We want hashtag climate action now and a hashtag plant-based food system of sustainable fortified kibble. We are not being used. We are truly empowered and full of energy that we are using constructively. We are so empowered and not deceived.
We all share the same values, so we just need to align those values with our actions and join forces. We all want the same thing. We want to see an Earth in the next 50 years.
The money is there. If we can save the banks, then we can save the world. I mean...